What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 2 Stone. Chapter 21 Superpower Upgrade. Jack the Drow is coming. Shane had a clear goal and headed straight for Disolo. There are quite a few haki in this one. Disolo's expression changed drastically when he saw this, and he immediately used his Devil Fruit ability to stop Shane. With the lessons learned just now, Disolo vowed that he would never let Shane catch him. However, Disolo's obstruction was of no use. Shane was not stopped at all because he was not afraid of any attacks at all. Disolo panicked and backed away, but Shane's big hand still came down and grabbed him. The moment he caught it, Disolo felt what Torbil and Pika had felt before. Haki begins to lose. This feeling made Disolo's pupils vibrate, and he gritted his teeth and tried his best to break free. But he was horrified to find that Shane's power was also terrifying. This guy was really like a monster. Black Dragon. Disolo didn't dare to show any lightness. He shouted violently, turned the fear in his heart into anger, and used his devil fruit to awaken again. How could I fail now? How could I fail? Disolo attacked Shane crazily. At the same time, Doflamingo came quickly to assist Disolo. The two attacked Shane wildly, and after a while, they finally got rid of Shane. Finally, Disolo was still frightened. The feeling of losing haki just now was too bad. Doflamingo also breathed a sigh of relief. Joke, our attack made the Black Dragon let go, which means it is working. Disolo's eyes were filled with anger. Use your strongest moves together to defeat the Black Dragon. Doflamingo nodded, gritted his teeth and said, okay. Now he is also reluctant to tear the Black Dragon into pieces. What the two of them didn't know was that the reason why they got rid of Shane was because the system prompts in Shane's mind sounded. Superpower, promoted to, advanced, close black lens bracket. The corners of Shane's mouth turned up a little. He was finally promoted. It's not easy. So many people were absorbed. The upgrade of super strength did not last long for Shane. In fact, even if he wanted to recall it, he couldn't, because the furious Disolo had already charged again. He burst out with unprecedented power, all turned into power by his anger towards Shane, and launched his strongest attack against Shane. On the other side, Doflamingo also exploded his haki to the extreme, staring at Shane. Huh. Shane chuckled silently, then he made an attack gesture. Super strength promotion, he plans to test how powerful it is. On the opposite side, Doflamingo saw this and immediately sneered. Black Dragon, your defense is really powerful. But without haki, the attack would be a joke. Shane didn't say anything. Wasn't it a joke that he would know later? Clenching his fists, he activated the newly promoted superpower to its strongest level and then rushed out. Nothing fancy. Soon Shane's punch collided with Disolo's golden fist and Doflamingo's 12 gods killing. The advanced super strength combined with the top super defense. At this moment Shane's attack was devastating. Doflamingo and Disolo's pupils widened. They all felt the absolute power that they could not defeat. The new Admiral Black Dragon. Not only has pervert defense, but is also incredibly powerful. The golden giant was shattered, and Disolo was knocked away by the force, with large mouthfuls of blood spurting out of his mouth. On the other side, Doflamingo's attack also turned into powder. Fortunately, Shane's main attacks were on Disolo, and Doflamingo did not suffer much damage. He was just affected by the torrent of power, flew out for a distance, and quickly stabilized his figure. Doflamingo looked at Shane falling back to the ground, filled with fear. He was scared, really scared. This fear is the same as facing Kaido of the beasts. The Black Dragon is definitely Marine's strongest creature, with full strength and defense. Doflamingo feels that if other admirals don't use Devil Fruit abilities, they will never be able to defeat Shane. The purest taijutsu ceiling in Marine, it doesn't require any haki to intimidate a lot of young people. Shane glanced at Doflamingo in the air and said nothing. Instead, he looked directly at the other members of the Don Quixote family. The faces of the Don Quixote family members were suddenly full of horror. Now they are all afraid. However, facing Shane who was slowly walking towards him, even though it was still the same Shane from the beginning, the pressure was so intense that no one even had the courage to move. Everyone looked at Doflamingo with desperate expressions, asking for his help. Doflamingo's veins kept crawling, and he didn't know what to do when faced with Shane. Below, Shane has arrived in front of the Don Quixote family members, and then he looks up and smiles. Doflamingo. Absorbing haki can be recovered, but I will continue to absorb it after recovery. Unless you Don Quixote family can kill me, I will suck your haki every day. The Don Quixote family members trembled when they heard this. If that were the case, wouldn't they have to lie in bed every day? It's scary just thinking about it. Doflamingo gritted his teeth in anger. Black Dragon. But what about being angry? It has no effect. This is an absolute crushing force. Doflamingo knew how to make Shane stop, and that was to terminate the deal with Disolo. But this may mean that the Don Quixote family will lose a huge fortune. How could Doflamingo be willing to do so? But what if you are unwilling to do so? Doflamingo exhaled slowly, planning to relent and agree to terminate the deal with Disolo. However, at this moment, a Don Quixote guard exclaimed. The beast's pirates are coming. Yes, it's Jack the Drow. The shocked faces of everyone in the Don Quixote family showed surprise. Shane also raised his eyebrows slightly, and he made a face-palming gesture in his mind. Why do troublesome things happen one after another? Jack the Drow, nicknamed the Driving King, is definitely a tricky guy. It cannot be settled simply by intimidation. Above the sky, Doflamingo doesn't understand, isn't the trading day yet? Why did Jack suddenly come to Marin Fandu? But that's not important now. The corners of Doflamingo's mouth turned up. Jack's arrival is definitely a good thing for the current situation. Doflamingo gave up his plan to terminate the transaction and prepared to go to the underground port to bring Jack there. But at this moment, a rough voice echoed, "Joke, what happened?" As soon as Lousy entered the offshore area of Dressrosa, he heard some noise. Is this someone provoking trouble? Everyone present looked for the sound and saw Jack appearing at the scene with his real fighters. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 22. Jack the Drow was sucked into a specimen? In the sky, Doflamingo was surprised. Why didn't Jack go to the underground port? Below, Jack also saw Doflamingo in the air. Seemingly seeing his doubts, Jack said in a deep voice. After Lousy noticed the movement, he came directly over. What the hell happened, Joke? Do you need Lousy to help you handle it? Doflamingo is an indispensable collaborator in the development of Beast's pirates. He can help sell arms to the Beast's pirates, and also provide assembly fruits to the Beast's pirates. This time Jack came because he had run out of assembly fruits, so he came to trade in advance. Doflamingo fell from the sky to Jack's side. Since Jack said he wanted to help, let Jack take action against Shane. With this idea in mind, Doflamingo directly diverted the trouble and said, Jack, I'm afraid I won't be able to continue doing business with you Beast's pirates. Jack raised his eyebrows and his face suddenly turned ugly. It is Kaido of the Beast's plan to build a powerful army using SMLIE fruits. What did you say? Jack's tone was unkind. Doflamingo smiled in his heart, and then his expression turned helpless. The Black Dragon Admiral came in person just to force me to cancel the transaction. Black Dragon? Jack murmured silently. He remembered this name, Marine's newly promoted 4th Admiral. Looking for Doflamingo's eyes, he saw Shane. After being attacked by the Don Quixote family in Solo, Shane's military uniform was already in tatters and he looked in dire straits. Jack immediately said, Huh, is this the so-called new Admiral? The battle with you can be so embarrassing. It seems that the new Admiral is as unbearable as imagined. Jack's words made Doflamingo very unhappy. What does it mean to make fighting against us so miserable? Do you look down on us? However, Doflamingo did not show it on the surface. He forced out his signature smile and said, Jack, you can't underestimate this new Admiral. His defense is amazing and his strength is absolutely top-notch. With the joint efforts of DeSolo and I, the Black Dragon was not harmed at all, and DeSolo was severely injured and fell unconscious. At this time, DeSolo was defeated by Shane and fell unconscious in the ruins in the distance. Jack was dismissive when he heard this, and said in a calm voice, The defense is strong. Can it be as strong as our zone's defense? After saying that, he ignored Doflamingo's speechless expression and stepped forward directly to face Shane. The previous Marines in the world government didn't stop our Beast's pirates and Joke's deal, but you, the new Admiral, are looking for death. Shane said nothing. Because he knew Jack's character, and since he needed to fight in the end, why bother talking nonsense? Start early and finish early. It's not a bad thing. There's no problem in taking action against Jack. My superpower has just advanced. I can try it out. Seeing that Shane ignored him, Jack's eyes suddenly widened and his momentum exploded. Are you deaf? Seeing that Shane was still looking at him like he was an idiot, Jack was completely furious. Let me show you how severe my drought is. You will regret coming to Dressrosa. Jack roared, and at the same time his body shape began to change, transforming into a giant mammoth. Many people around were shocked by the power of the ancient creatures, and they retreated with fear on their faces. This is the oppressive feeling of drought, one of the 3 disasters. Okay, so strong. Both in terms of strength and aura, he is stronger than any other member of the Don Quixote family. Jack didn't pay attention to his surroundings at all. He raised his front legs and rushed out like a chariot with a neighing sound. Each stampede of a giant mammoth shook the earth. Across from him, Shane looked at Jack, who was facing him, with no change in his expression. Not even moving. Jack immediately sneered, Black Dragon, you will pay the price for your arrogance. In Jack's eyes, he had seriously injured the Black Dragon. However, when the attack actually arrived, the impact was so swift and powerful that it could flatten everything, but Shane was able to resist it. The mammoth's pupils couldn't help but dilate, this power. It wasn't until the actual contact between the 2 parties that Jack felt Shane's terrifying power. As a mammoth with infinite strength, he can't even shake the Black Dragon? Lousy doesn't believe it. Jack raised his head again, planning to hit Shane again. Shane remained expressionless and said calmly, although it's troublesome, it's my turn next. As soon as he finished speaking, Shane stopped defending and raised his hand to grab Jack. While holding Jack's trunk, Shane immediately began to absorb haki. The next second, a prompt sounded in my mind. Superpower. Experience value plus 240, plus 240. As one of the three plagues, Jack, even the weakest one, is definitely much stronger than Haki, a member of the Don Quixote family. My Haki is losing it. Jack looked horrified, completely confused as to what was going on. Why does the black dragon absorb Haki? What scares Jack the most is the rapid loss of Haki. Damn it. Let lousy go. Black dragon. Jack began to struggle wildly, and his own attacks hit Shane wildly. But the attack had no effect on Shane. Shane just grabbed Jack and let him do crazy damage to him, while listening to the prompts in his mind. Superpower. Experience value plus 240. Plus 240, the quartet, Doflamingo, and Don Quixote family members were completely shocked by Shane. Even Drought is of no use. The Black Dragon can really rival the four emperors. The strongest person in the new generation of Marine. Doflamingo's heart was beating violently. He was scared. I'm really scared. I am definitely no match for Shane. If I want to deal with Shane, I guess the only ones left now are the four emperors. Seeing Jack gradually weakening, Doflamingo knew that he had to terminate the transaction. Otherwise, the Don Quixote family's misfortune will really come. Doflamingo doesn't think Shane is joking. Jack felt his own Haki disappear crazily, which made him feel inexplicably frightened, and he attacked Shane crazily. In just a few seconds, he had attacked no less than 10 times, but he couldn't hurt Shane at all. Jack gradually began to feel exhausted and his face turned pale. There was no arrogance on his face at the beginning, only shock at the strength of Black Dragon's new admiral. Jack felt that even if he was defeated by other admirals, he would not feel the slightest fear. However, Shane gave him a feeling of fear, just like he was afraid of his elder brothers Jin and Quinn. Wrong. Jin and Quinn are not qualified enough. Shane, the new admiral, is more oppressive than Governor Kaido. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 23. Brother Ming was convinced and called Sengoku himself. Shane possesses terrifying strength and exaggerated defense, comparable to Big Brother Kaido's strongest biological physique. A terrible feeling of powerlessness came to my mind, but the most overwhelming feeling was a deep feeling of exhaustion. After a moment of absorption, Jack's huge body looked a little dry. From the beginning, it was an arrogant ancient creature, but now people around it feel like they have been sucked into specimens. After squeezing out the last bit of Haki, Shane threw Jack directly to the ground. It will be a little difficult to upgrade next. Shane didn't treat Jack with the same mercy as he treated the Don Quixote family. He directly drained them until they were dry. With the absorption speed doubled, it still took a long time to absorb, which shows how powerful Jack's Haki is. Certainly, part of the reason is that Jack, as a zone fruit user and a rare ancient species, has stronger recovery power. But even so, Shane's superpower still hasn't improved and is still at an advanced level. Whatever. Shane's original purpose was just to complete the mission, and absorbing Haki to enhance his super strength was just a casual act. Ignoring Jack, who had become a specimen, Shane looked back at the Don Quixote family. Torbil and Pika had already regained a certain amount of mobility. When they saw Shane's gaze, they trembled and backed away crazily. They were scared, really scared. Doflamingo was also stuck in his throat. After seeing Jack's appearance, he realized that Shane was not using all his strength to deal with him and others, and was already showing mercy. Seeing that Shane planned to continue to absorb the Don Quixote family, Doflamingo gritted his teeth. However, even though he was unwilling to do so, Doflamingo still did not dare to neglect, and forced a smile and said, "Black Dragon Admiral, your conditions, I promise. As the young master of the Don Quixote family, I make a commitment to terminate the transaction with De Solo." After Shane heard this, he immediately raised the corners of his mouth, stopped, and said with a slight smile, "Doflamingo, if you agree earlier, wouldn't it be done sooner? Why do you have to suffer so much?" The veins on Doflamingo's forehead squirmed slightly, but he said nothing. In the distance, Stussy's heart was shaken. Doflamingo's words mean that their mission for this trip has been completed. After looking at the specimen, Jack, Stussy felt her scalp numb. Only Admiral, the Black Dragon, can accomplish the shock in this way. Although the main hull was destroyed, it seemed that the two sides were fighting fiercely. However, in fact, Shane basically did not take any action. He only defended while frantically absorbing Haki. This can't be said to be excessive at all, and it used absolute means to shock the Don Quixote family. Looking at the entire world government, the only Marine who can achieve this kind of intimidation is the Black Dragon. Stussy murmured to himself. Today she witnessed a different kind of ability, which refreshed her world view. Others simply can't do it. As for Shane, the moment Doflamingo agreed, he had been waiting for the system prompts. However, after waiting and waiting, the system prompt sound never appeared in my mind. This made Shane a little confused. What is going on? Didn't Doflamingo personally say that the deal was terminated? Is it because you don't mean it? Or it could be. Shane speculated on various possibilities and finally looked up at Doflamingo. Seeing Shane's gaze, Doflamingo couldn't help but tighten his brows slightly, and his heart jumped uncontrollably. What is this kid planning to do? Didn't you already agree? Now Doflamingo just wants to send this plague god away as soon as possible. Shane didn't say anything, which made Doflamingo's heart beat harder. I was reviewing it crazily in my mind, wondering if I had done anything wrong. I thought about it but couldn't think of anything. Just when I was worried, I heard Shane say, "Doflamingo, please call Marshal Marine yourself now. Then tell him personally that you have terminated the transaction with DeSolo." At this time, DeSolo had woken up from a coma, and after hearing this, his heart was full of unwillingness and anger. However, there is nothing that can be done. Shane is definitely an insurmountable mountain for him. The gap between the two sides is like a huge chasm. Doflamingo breathed a sigh of relief. It was just like this. Just say it directly. Why do you have to stare at yourself for a few seconds? As a result, Lousy almost escaped. Feeling much more relaxed, Doflamingo nodded and agreed. At this time, Stussy brought people to Shane's side, and Shane asked Doflamingo to call Sengoku. She didn't say anything. The mission was accomplished anyway. Doflamingo didn't waste any time, took out his phone and started dialing in front of Shane. There are many Marins, Marshal's mansion. The atmosphere was tense, everyone was waiting, except for the sound of Garp eating senbei. Garp. Sengoku glared at Garp impatiently and said coldly. In these extraordinary times, are you still so ignorant of current affairs? If Shane doesn't handle it well, it will be a huge public relations crisis. What? Sengoku, you don't believe Shane? Garp said with a smile. I think that kid can do it. Even if he can't, wouldn't it be good if the dirty stuff about world government is exposed? Garp even looked forward to it. When there are doubts, there will be review and correction, right? Sengoku glared at Garp. What the hell do you know? That's a huge crisis of confidence. All around, Crane and the original 3 admirals remained silent. Although Shane is not weak, I have high expectations for this rising star. But this mission is special. The other party is just a 16-year-old boy, and he has basically no idea. If they didn't have good ideas, it would be impossible to use Shane. The most worried of the crowd belonged to Akainu. He is well aware of world government's methods. Once it fails, Shane is likely to be pushed out as a rescue victim. At this moment, the phone in front of Sengoku's desk rang. Sengoku answered the call without saying a word, and Doflamingo's voice suddenly came over the phone. Sengoku, you're fine. The moment they heard Doflamingo's voice, the expressions of all the senior executives changed. Shaw, did Shane fail in his mission? He said in a low voice. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 24. The mission is successfully completed and you get super breathing. If the mission is successful, there is a high probability that the caller will be Shane, or there will be no call at all and he will report directly back to Naval Headquarters. Now Doflamingo's direct call is most likely because Shane failed the mission and the other party came to negotiate terms. Dissatisfaction with the world government and Marine who came forward to obstruct. Marine's senior management at the scene looked solemn. This meeting was extremely important. If the situation worsened, it would be troublesome. Doflamingo. Just say what you want, Sengoku said solemnly. On the side, Crane, Garp and San Admiral were all non-committal, waiting for Doflamingo's conditions. However, Doflamingo Shaw's words made everyone's expressions freeze. Sengoku, at the suggestion of the Black Dragon Admiral, I terminate the transaction with DeSolo. Sengoku's pupils flashed, very surprised. Successful? Around him, he, Garp and Harasan Admiral all looked at each other in surprise. I originally thought that Doflamingo would come to negotiate compensation terms, but I didn't expect that he would come in person to tell me and others that he had terminated the transaction. He sighed with emotion. I know Doflamingo's character best. Even if he faces 3 admirals, this guy won't give up. How on earth did Shane do that? This is also what Sengoku, Garp and others are curious about. How did Shane do it? The most important thing is to convince the arrogant Doflamingo himself. Sengoku said to Doflamingo, let Shane answer the phone bug. Soon, the phone bug's expression changed into Shane's slightly lazy expression. Marshal, the mission has been completed, what else do you need from me? Hearing this casual tone, Sengoku, Garp and others thought of Shane's usual careless and attitudeless appearance. Some were speechless, because Sengoku and others were surprised to find that they had somehow realized that even so, Shane was very reliable. Whether it's completing the Devil Fruit trading mission or today's Don Quixote family crisis, it's all solved perfectly. Shane, how did you do that? Akainu asked first. Shane's tone on the other side was very casual, and he said easily, I told Doflamingo that if he doesn't agree, I will stay in Dressrosa and suck haki from the Don Quixote family member every day. And he agreed. There was a moment of silence in the marshal's mansion. Kizaru pouted and said, yo, and murmured, I finally understand why Doflamingo agreed. Everyone around them nodded, and they understood. Absorbing haki to a certain extent can make others weak, and even endanger their lives if it goes too far. Beside him, he suddenly shook his head and laughed. To deal with a scoundrel, the only way is to be more scoundrel than him. This sentence makes sense. If Shane really sticks to Dressrosa and absorbs haki, a member of the Don Quixote family every day, how will the Don Quixote family still function? Is it okay to lie in bed every day? Ouch. Garp sighed repeatedly. Having said that, Doflamingo still has to act like a scoundrel. Who among us can use this method? Everyone was silent. Indeed, absorbing haki is something only Shane can do. Garp couldn't help but look at Akainu. Sakazuki, is Shane your biological child? Akainu's face turned dark immediately. Mr. Garp, this is not a joke. Garp hurriedly laughed. I was just amazed by this guy Shane. Let me ask you, among us, who made a name for himself at the age of 16? Shane is a well-deserved genius. I am looking forward to the future Marine more and more. Although Akainu has a dark face, his mood is happy and comfortable. The more dazzling his son is, the more respectable he will be as a father. Now that I think about it, this guy was quite cute when he was basking in the sun at home every day. Dressrosa, after Doflamingo personally told Sengoku to terminate the transaction with DeSolo, the system's voice finally sounded in his mind. Congratulations on completing the termination of the transaction between Don Quixote family and DeSolo. Obtain Reward 1. Unlock the new attributes of Dachau template. Super breathing. As the level increases, you can breathe out hurricanes and even destroy planets with one breath. As long as the owner of this attribute breathes, the attribute level can be improved. The current level limit is top. If the owner breathes the air of special gas, the experience value will be increased even more. Obtain Reward 2. Super defense. The experience value of hanging up is doubled. Obtain Reward 3. Super power. The level limit reaches the secret level, close black lens bracket. At first, Shane was a little bit regretful when he saw that the new attribute unlocked was super breathing. And without unlocking the flying ability of big super template, what is the use of super breathing? Can it filter impurities better? However, when Shane saw the introduction of super breathing, even a reserved person like Shane was moved by it. Exhale a hurricane that can destroy planets in one breath? Good guy. This is plain crushing. Although Shane knows that to achieve this level of terrifying effect, one must reach a very good level, even the current highest, mysterious level, limit is not enough. But this description is still shocking. Shane is not disappointed and is very satisfied with the new attributes. It just makes up for one's own shortcomings. No matter how powerful superpower is, it is always a single attack method, and its range is limited. After unlocking super breathing, as long as the subsequent levels go up, you will have the ability to cause AoE damage, which means causing large-scale damage to the enemy. Just like the time Luffy was on the Fishman Island, Haki fell out of 50,000 people. Even if his superpower reaches the mysterious level, he will still be unable to knock down 50,000 people with one punch. And super breathing can do it. The most important thing is that the way super breathing improves makes Shane extremely satisfied. It is easier than basking in the sun. After all, as long as you are alive, you are breathing all the time. At this time, in addition to the improvement of super defense, Shane's mind is also the experience value improvement prompt of super breathing. It is worth mentioning that the experience increase of super defense has been increased from +1 at the beginning to +4 now. As for the improvement of super breathing, under normal breathing, the experience value is +1. Finally, the superpower reaches the mysterious level. For this attribute, Shane simply skipped it because he needed to take the initiative to absorb Haki's improvement experience, which was troublesome. I just absorb it when I complete the task. The speed of improvement depends on my mood. After browsing this time's rewards, Shane nodded with satisfaction in his heart. At this moment, after Stussy completed the reporting process and learned that drought was also present, Sengoku immediately ordered. Shane, return quickly. Every time you take action during a drought, there is a high probability that you will carry the virus of the epidemic. Even the best military doctors in Marine are powerless against the epidemic virus. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 25 Absorbing Poisonous Gas, Experience Value +100. Stussy's face became more solemn after hearing Sengoku's instructions. I almost forgot about this. The epidemic virus once wiped out the entire country. Even if you are as strong as Admiral, being infected by the epidemic virus will never be uncomfortable. Stussy responded, let's leave Dressrosa now, opposite me. Sengoku laughed loudly. Shane, we're waiting for your turn. Marshal, please don't arrange too many people to greet him, we are afraid, Shane instructed. He just wanted to go back quietly and continue to enjoy the quiet years. Social fear. Sengoku doesn't understand the word Shane said. What does it mean? But it didn't affect his understanding of Shane's words, and he felt helpless. If the rest of the guys came back, they would love to have the whole Marine crowd to welcome him, but it would be a good thing for Shane to not want to. But he has a good personality and won't easily lose himself in the praise. No more nonsense, and after agreeing to Shane's request, Sengoku hung up the phone. Now that this mission is completed, let's set off and return. Stussy looked at Shane and said. Shane nodded, but at this moment, an extremely angry voice with gnashing teeth sounded. Want to leave? It's too late. When Stussy heard the sound, her heart suddenly jumped. Jack. Shane looked around and saw that Jack had recovered a lot. He immediately nodded and praised. As expected of Zone Demon Fruit power, the recovery is very fast. However, Shane's praise was harsh in Jack's ears. Black Dragon, you are now able to sneer. Lousy will let you see the weight of Brother Quinn's name of plague now. With a proud laugh, Jack put on a mask, and at the same time, all the real fighters behind him also put on masks. At the same time, a cart of things was pushed. Jack, is this guy crazy? Doflamingo's pupils suddenly showed fear when he saw this. To release the plague virus in Lousy's territory. Disolo, whose face was covered with blood, ignored his injuries and shouted anxiously. Joke, do you have a gas mask? Without saying a word, Doflamingo immediately rushed to the dilapidated hull and took out the gas mask. Since they are dealing with Beast's pirates, the Don Quixote family will naturally prepare these things, just in case. Now it comes in handy. Marines sighed. When Stussy saw Beast's pirates using Quinn's virus, he immediately yelled, "Evacuate quickly." Looking around, CP agents and Marine all looked frightened and were about to turn around and evacuate immediately. However, it was not until this time that they discovered that the Beast's pirates had surrounded them and were ready to poison them from all directions. Wahahaha. Under the gas mask, Jack laughed wantonly and was extremely proud. Feel the torture before death. Poison. Under the order, real fighters from all directions threw things similar to smoke bombs. When these virus-laden smoke bombs landed at the feet of Marine, the CP agent, green poisonous gas immediately poured out. Beast's pirates did not consider the issue of consumption at all, and threw at least thousands of poison gas bombs in a short period of time. The green poisonous gas instantly enveloped the Marines and CP spies who numbered 1,000 people. Stussy's expression changed drastically. She wanted to use her own body skills to leave the area, but the moment she accidentally inhaled the poisonous gas, she felt powerless. The leaping body paused, but ultimately failed to leave the poisonous gas area. This virus attacks so quickly? Stussy's heart fell into the ice cave little by little. Now we are in big trouble. The surrounding Marine soldiers and CP agents were also hit, and some of the weak ones simply collapsed on the ground and lost all mobility. Fear and panic spread throughout Marine in an instant. This virus is too scary. I'm finished. I can't move at all. It's over. Should we all be destroyed here? Marine, CP agents, and everyone's hearts were filled with a haze of despair. Not far away, members of the Don Quixote family looked on, deeply horrified by Quinn's virus. Isn't this virus too powerful? Cold sweat broke out on Senor's forehead. Fortunately, the young master brought the gas mask in time. Doflamingo and Disolo were both extremely shocked. They knew the horror of the Quinn virus, but they didn't expect it to be so terrifying. Ha ha ha. Doflamingo chuckled. It seems like that guy Quinn has been doing a lot of research and development over the years. Disolo nodded in agreement, but his focus was not here. Joke, as long as the Black Dragon loses, you and I will resume the transaction. He needs to get strength. Doflamingo just smiled and did not answer, but the smile already represented the answer. Ahead, Jack is extremely excited and arrogant. Black Dragon, do you know why Zephyr retired? The world thinks he was frustrated because of the incident involving his family, but how could a man like him who is obsessed with justice retire because of such a thing? Lousy will tell you now, it's because he has a very serious asthma. The cause of asthma was inhaling too much of Brother Quinn's virus, and that was decades ago. Today's viruses are hundreds of times more powerful than those of yesteryear. Enough to kill. Black Dragon, Lousy wants to see your reaction of being swallowed up by despair. Among the poisons, Shane originally found it difficult. After all, his super defense was strong, and it was also a physical defense, while the poisonous gas directly destroyed the inside. But suddenly he had a flash of inspiration and thought of something. Absorbing special gases by yourself can increase your experience points. Isn't poisonous gas considered a special gas? With his thoughts in mind, Shane cautiously inhaled a small mouthful of poisonous gas to give it a try. The next second, the system prompt sounded in my mind. Super breathing. Experience points plus 100 points. Close black lens bracket. After hearing the prompt, the corners of Shane's mouth turned up, and it seemed that his guess was correct. The crisis in front of me has turned into a benefit for myself. Shane was in a cheerful mood, but he didn't show his emotions. On the periphery, Jack, who was wearing a gas mask, looked at Shane with the same expression and immediately frowned, a little annoyed. Shane, why bother holding on? It's useless. Hurry up and let Lousy see your despair. Let Lousy feel happy emotions. All around, members of Beast's pirates were laughing. They feel that Shane is struggling to support himself now. Far away, Doflamingo also laughed and shook his head. The Black Dragon must be very unwilling now. It's quite a pity that such a monstrous genius died here. However, the next second, Shane made a move that was beyond everyone's expectations. He said calmly, "Since you want me to absorb the poisonous gas, then I will satisfy you." Ignoring the confused looks from everyone around him, Shane directly activated super breathing, and then he was like a toad, sucking in the poisonous gas around him. Jack was immediately confused. Is this guy looking for death because he is so impatient? Ads by Bid Gear. Chapter 26. Jack is confused. Has all the poisonous gas been absorbed by the Black Dragon? Not to mention Jack, everyone present was surprised by Shane's operation. What is this doing? Are you afraid that you won't absorb enough poisonous gas and are seeking death? Soon Jack's confusion turned into a low laugh. Is this too desperate and leads to mental disorder? Ha ha ha, Boss Jack, there is no doubt, it must be. No matter how powerful he is still just a brat with no hair on his head. It's normal to have a nervous breakdown when facing death. At this time, someone suddenly exclaimed, "Hey, look, the black dragon's inhalation is a bit fierce." Jack's expression also became strange. The poisonous gas that was just thick now started to become thinner under Shane's breath. It's really shocking to breathe in like that. Behind him, DeSolo raised his eyebrows. This is Black Dragon's plan. He has a guess. On the side, Doflamingo showed his iconic devilish smile. The Black Dragon is planning to sacrifice himself to save others. Doflamingo's tone was full of sarcasm. Ahead, Jack laughed sarcastically. What a touching scene. But Black Dragon, if you fall, the Marines present will still die. Everything you do now will be a joke. In the poisonous gas, Stussy, who already needed a hand to support himself on the ground, was moved. She wanted to speak out to stop Shane from doing such a stupid thing, but the deep feeling of powerlessness prevented her from speaking out. I feel more and more desperate. Even if Shane absorbs all the poisonous gas, they will eventually die at the hands of Jack in their current state. But soon Jack noticed something strange. The Black Dragon almost absorbed all the poisonous gas, but it didn't seem to be affected at all. All around, the Don Quixote family and DeSolo are also discovering this. It shouldn't be. Doflamingo stopped smiling and looked puzzled. No matter how strong Shane is physically, it's impossible for him not to behave strangely after absorbing so much poisonous gas. There was no smile on DeSolo's face either. He looked at Doflamingo with an ugly expression and said, "Doflamingo, I have a bad feeling inside for no reason." The veins on Doflamingo's forehead squirmed again, but he said nothing. He felt this way too. On Shane's side, he was directly high at this time. The reminder of a huge increase in super breathing experience points in my mind was beating like crazy. Soon, I hope this wave of poisonous gas can help me get promoted. With super breathing activated, Shane had no intention of stopping, and his lungs were like a never-ending black hole. All around, the beast's pirates no longer had any pride, only surprise and shock. Why are you okay after absorbing so much? It shouldn't be. Even the veteran admiral should have been killed by inhaling such a huge amount of poisonous gas. What's going on? A drop of cold sweat fell from Jack's forehead. The previous arrogance had long since disappeared, leaving only confusion and panic. Keep throwing. He immediately gave the order and even personally participated in the throwing of gas bombs. Members of the beast's pirates from all over the world also threw poison gas. Right. That's it. Keep throwing. The benefits are hard to stop. Shane suddenly found Jack so pleasing to his eyes. The huge super experience increase in my mind is still flashing crazily, and the experience value is increasing crazily. But at this moment, the crazy flashing experience prompts, and Shane's heart moves. Coming. Sure enough, the system prompted, super breathing, promoted to intermediate, close black lens bracket. Breakthrough. Shane's mouth curled up for a rare moment. He looked at Jack and smiled kindly. However, this friendly smile made Jack shiver all over. Shane is laughing. This guy has absorbed a huge amount of poisonous gas and is still laughing? Is this guy crazy? What the hell? What's going on? Jack was shocked beyond measure, and at the same time, fear arose in his heart. All around, other members of the beasts were also shrouded in fear. Poisonous? Am I dreaming? It must be a dream. It must be a dream? In the distance, Doflamingo, his family members, and DeSolo looked blank. The shock left them speechless. On Marine's side, the still conscious Marine and CP agents were no less shocked than Jack and the others. The Black Dragon Admiral is not afraid of poisonous gas? Are you really not afraid, or are you trying to hold on? Among the crowd, Stussy's beautiful eyes were earthquake. Does the Black Dragon have such abilities? Why is there no record in the reported information? But these are no longer important. Stussy only knows that Shane saved his life today. At the same time, she also wanted to see how Quinn would react if he knew about this. It must be exciting. On the periphery, the fear and shock in his heart made Jack's eyes wide open. Keep throwing. Lousy doesn't believe that this kid can continue to absorb poisonous gas. Lousy doesn't believe that he won't be poisoned. This has never happened before. Demon fruit power? All kinds of thoughts come to mind. However, the deputy captain said in a difficult tone, Captain Jack. Gas bombs, we've run out of gas bombs. What? Jack fell into a deep daze. Run out. Jack looked at Shane, who was still standing there unharmed. Gulu. Jack looked at Shane and swallowed. Shane stopped, super breathing, and stopped inhaling, and there was no poisonous gas around him. Somewhat disappointed, some regretful. Why is it no longer there? Silence all around. Why is there no more? Is this human language? That stuff is deadly poisonous gas. What do you think of as gourmet food? Jack, to be honest, I don't plan to do anything to you now. After all, you have helped me a lot. Shane's words made Jack confused. Can I help you a lot? When did this happen? Those poisonous gases? Jack's mood was extremely complicated. But, you were so arrogant just now, I can't help but teach you a lesson. Shane's expression was meaningful. Jack's body suddenly trembled. Could it be that the black dragon wanted to suck him again? Thinking back to the feeling of being sucked dry, Jack wanted to die. However, Shane's next attack shocked Jack. I saw Shane puffing up his chest and making a gesture of exhaling, and then exhaled a hurricane-like breath from his mouth. What surprised Jack the most was that this breath actually had the properties of the poisonous gas just now, and the ultimate coldness hit his face. Jack was shocked to the extreme again. Shane could actually convert poisonous gas for his own use? But the next second, Jack turned into an ice sculpture, shock fixed on his face. Chapter 27. Exhale and freeze everyone in the drought. What ability is this? Shane's breath turned Jack into an ice sculpture and shocked everyone. The shock caused the surroundings to fall into deathly silence. After 3 full seconds, the members of Beast's pirates were the first to react, and endless fear enveloped all members. Captain Jack. Frozen by the breath of the Black Dragon Admiral. Could the Black Dragon Admiral be demon fruit power? Otherwise, how could he have such weird methods? Is this an exceptional improvement in the value of the 4th Admiral? It's several times scarier than the original 3 Admiral. Question 3. Which Admiral can physically resist Jack's attack? Question 3. Which Admiral can absorb such a huge amount of poisonous gas? Only the 4th Admiral Black Dragon. Frightened and panicked, the Beast's pirates began to flee. Run! Captain Jack has turned into an ice sculpture, and they are next. No one around them paid attention to the Beast's pirates, who dispersed in a hurry. Shane was lazy, while the others were still in shock. Doflamingo has trouble with his scalp, and now he is only afraid. It turns out that they were clowns and jokes from beginning to end. I thought Shane had used all his methods, but he didn't. What a strong defense, what a powerful strength, but they are all weak in front of Shane's breath that ignores poisonous gas and can transform poisonous gas into his own attacks, right? This guy is definitely not a human, not Akainu's biological child, he is a monster. Doflamingo no longer has any thoughts of trading with DeSolo. Once Shane is really angered and the opponent uses the same trick against Jack, he will have to spend the rest of his life frozen in ice. Even more terrifying than Aokiji's ice freeze, at least the devil fruit ability can be resisted by haki. However, the poisonous gas discovered by Quinn cannot be resisted by haki. I'm scared, scared, scared. On the side, DeSolo looks exactly like Doflamingo. Just now, Shane just used pure strength to deal with him, which was already merciless. A ridiculous thought came to DeSolo's mind. Should he be grateful to Shane for saving his life? He felt that Black Dragon, the 4th Admiral, was the first of the 4 admirals in his mind based on his various weird abilities. Can't afford to offend. Can't afford to offend. Joke, let's cancel the deal. DeSolo whispered to Brother Ming. Nonsense. Doflamingo shouted immediately. On the other side, Stussy has calmed down a bit after getting out of the poisonous gas, but is still only about 50% healthy. Fortunately, Shane absorbed the poisonous gas in time, otherwise everyone present would have suffered irreversible damage. Looking up at Shane. Shane is still a young man, not very tall, but in Stussy's eyes, he is extremely stalwart and gigantic. Powerful, reliable, and mystery. Stussy's eyes twinkled. What kind of legend can this young man create in the future? She couldn't imagine it, but she believed that Shane could definitely create a legend. Today's move has already put half a foot into the ranks of legends. At the same time, this young man is also his savior. Stussy threw all the miscellaneous thoughts to the back of his mind, took a few deep breaths, and adjusted himself. After almost recovering, Stussy stepped to Shane's side. He laughed from the bottom of his heart. Black Dragon, can I call you by your name? Whatever you want, Shane said casually. Stussy's eyes moved slightly, and then he sneered. In my eyes, you don't have the innocence of a child at all, but you look a lot like those old guys. Those old guys? 5 elders? After saying that, Stussy didn't wait for Shane to reply and asked, speaking of which, why didn't you report your ability to ignore poisonous gas and convert poisonous gas into your own attack? I said I just realized it, do you believe it? Shane still said calmly. Stussy's eyes twitched, and she wanted to say something. Do you think I will believe it? Never mind. I have heard of this guy's ridiculous and outrageous claims that he can improve his strength by spending time in the sun. Okay, if you don't want to say it, don't, Secret Kid King, Stussy said playfully. Shane. What the hell is Kid King? Seeing the slight change in Shane's expression, Stussy suddenly smiled coquettishly, with pride on her lips. It turns out you also have other expressions, instead of looking like dead eyes every day and not being excited about anything. Seeing that Shane didn't say anything and didn't want to pay attention to him, Stussy didn't feel anything wrong. He continued to say to Shane, it's a pity that the other pirates of 100 Beasts ran away. Now we can only take Jack back. After hearing this, Shane glanced at Stussy and said, why are you catching Jack? Stussy was stunned and looked puzzled. The other party is a pirate. Isn't it natural for Marine to catch pirates? What more reason is needed? This mission is special, so let's not add any extraneous details, Shane said. In fact, Shane is too lazy to arrest Jack. What a hassle. The most important thing is that the follow-up will be more troublesome. Once Kaido knows that he has captured Jack, he will definitely take revenge on himself. Horrible. Can you still enjoy a good time by yourself? Furthermore, let Jack go. With his character, if he has learned a lesson today, he will definitely return to his arrogant and domineering attitude the next day, causing trouble everywhere. Maybe a task about Jack will be generated later. Shane always felt like he had lost a lot of money by arresting Jack before he could even make a fortune from him. After hearing this, Stussy nodded and felt that what Shane said made sense. So he chuckled and said, "Then, little brother Shane, please come back with me and your sister." Shane. Don't touch Lousy. On the way here before, Stussy didn't have such a friendly attitude. Now that his attitude has changed drastically, Shane suddenly feels bad. Will he be by his side every day like Momoshagi? Shane is already very annoyed when there is a Momoshagi nagging him every day. If there is a Stussy, Shane feels that the sky will collapse. Woman. Really annoying. Thinking like this, Shane immediately moved away from Stussy, and then said, "Wait a moment, I have something else to do." After saying that, Shane left quickly. Stussy, who stayed where she was, looked at Shane who was running away quickly, looking confused. What's up with Shane? Are you that unpopular? Stussy is messy in the wind. Shane came to DeSolo and said while the latter was frightened. The golden giant that I smashed into pieces belongs to me. DeSolo dared not say anything wrong. Not only did he agree repeatedly, but he also used his devil fruit ability to help Shane gather gold quickly so that he could carry it easily. The richest man who holds 20% of the world's wealth is like a respectful little brother in front of Shane. Black Dragon Admiral, you can come to my golden city when you are free. I will cover all the funds. Shane's heart moved. It seemed good. Chapter 28. The big shots are shocked. The new admiral has a lot of special methods. Big event. Big event. In world economic news, the president, Morgans, was extremely excited. The incident of the 4th Admiral Black Dragon in Dressrosa is definitely a hot topic. I can make a lot of money again. It's a pity that no one died, but that doesn't matter. There are always misunderstandings in things like news. The Black Dragon wiped out Jack. He. Morgans smiled slyly. With the World Economic Newspaper Office working overtime to print newspapers. Early the next morning, newspapers were flying all over the place. The whole world suddenly stirred up waves, and everyone was shocked. The Black Dragon Admiral is too strong. Actually killed Jack the Drow. Marine is finally doing something serious. For all the years the 4 emperors have been around, Marine has never killed any of its top cadres. That's right, Admiral, the new generation Black Dragon, is so powerful. Within a few days of taking power, he defeated the 2 captains of the Whitebeard pirates and killed a cadre under the 4 emperors. This is so efficient. Can you imagine that the Black Dragon Admiral is only 16 years old? I was still playing in the mud when I was 16. The Black Dragon Admiral is really a monster. Quote. For the public, they don't care about the process at all. What means does Shane have? They only know that the Black Dragon Admiral has a dazzling record, and that is enough. The actual record can break all previous doubts. Everyone on the sea knew that this young admiral was real, and it was not because of his father Akainu's relationship. The most important thing is that as a new generation, Shane represents hope. Perhaps he can bring an end to the age of exploration that has yet to end. Change this bad world. The 4th Admiral Black Dragon has become the sustenance of most people in the sea. It has to be said that Morgan's invisible help made the name of Black Dragon famous in the sea. All nations Cake Island. In the main hall, the desert retainer's exclamations echoed through the main hall. Really or not, the big signboard is missing a corner. The 4th Admiral Black Dragon is so powerful. The retainers all looked shocked. On the throne above, the ant glanced at the retainers in all directions and chuckled. A bunch of idiots. You haven't seen Morgans at the tea party, don't you know who he is? 9 out of 10 sentences of information coming out of that guy's mouth are exaggerations. No longer paying attention to the retainer, the ant looked at Katakuri and said, "How is the news that I asked you to investigate?" Katakuri said solemnly, "Mom, except that the news about Jack's death is false, all other news is true." The ant's eyes changed, and she was extremely surprised. Only the death news of that reckless man Jack is false. In other words, the Black Dragon did single-handedly defeat the Don Quixote family headed by Doflamingo, as well as Disolo and Drought. Yes, Katakuri nodded. Auntie stuck out her tongue like a monster. It seems that the Black Dragon does have absolute strength. But she doesn't care about these aunts, because she can do it easily. What Auntie cares about is whether the information about the Black Dragon absorbing Quinn's poisonous gas and then converting it into its own attack is true. Katakuri's expression was solemn. Mom, this news is also true. The aunt's expression changed slightly. After a moment, she couldn't help lowering her voice and said, "This new kid Admiral's abilities are really mysterious. Absorb armament haki, and absorb poisonous gas. Could it be that this guy is demon fruit power?" Katakuri pondered for a second and said, "This is also clear from the investigation. Black Dragon does not have devil fruit. Auntie was extremely surprised again. No. Then how does he possess these heaven-defying abilities? Katakuri fell silent after hearing this. He didn't know why Shane had these abilities. Without devil fruit's ability, how could such strange methods be possible? Auntie stopped worrying about it. No matter how powerful and capable the Black Dragon Admiral is, Auntie still has her own absolute confidence as a strong member of the Four Emperors. It requires some attention, but no need to get too carried away. What she is looking forward to now is how Kaido will react in the future. With that guy's temperament, he would definitely not swallow his anger and let his prestige among the beasts decrease. The ant's smile was like a devil. I really look forward to what kind of drama Beisho and Marine will bring us in the future. New world, somewhere on the sea, Moby D plywood. Marco looked at the newspaper and exclaimed, the Black Dragon Admiral has really endless tricks. The crowd, Blackbeard and Ace immediately came over as soon as they heard the name, Black Dragon. Looking up, Whitebeard raised his eyes slightly and focused on this side with his peripheral vision. The news said that the Black Dragon and Jack encountered each other in Dressrosa. Jack was first sucked dry by the Black Dragon, and then the angry Jack used Quinn's poison gas. Marco briefly described the contents of the newspaper. Quinn's poisonous gas. Upon hearing this, Josie's brows immediately became filled with a trace of gloom. Even he, who is called the strongest shield, cannot resist Quinn's poisonous gas. Other white groups are also a little wary. The white group has had a lot of friction with beasts pirates over the years, so they have naturally suffered losses in this regard. The Baituan all knew how terrifying Quinn's gas was. Did the Black Dragon stumble? Blackbeard asked expectantly. On the side, Ace was also very concerned. Since his last return, he has been brooding over his defeat at the Black Dragon. I vowed to regain my place when my strength improves further. No. Marco took a breath and calmed down his ups and downs of emotions and said. This is why I said that the Black Dragon has endless methods. The Black Dragon inhaled all of Quinn's poisonous gas into his body, and then converted it into his own attack, killing Jack instantly with one blow. Marco felt troubled. Sifong, Ace, Blackbeard, Chaozi and other members of the white group looked surprised when they heard this. How is this possible? Josie couldn't believe it. The biological and chemical weapons that they think are so terrifying have no effect on the Black Dragon? Ace did the same. He took the newspaper and read it carefully. When I saw the above article that the Black Dragon could absorb poisonous gas, I felt a surge in my heart. Did this guy grow up taking drugs? Ace was extremely surprised. Strong defense. Absorb haki. Now here comes another one to absorb poisonous gas. How many tricks does this kid still have that he hasn't come up with? Looking up, Whitebeard raised his eyebrows slightly. The Black Dragon's ability to absorb Quinn's poisonous gas surprised him, a strong man. It was strange. Even he couldn't say that he was 100% resistant to Quinn's biological weapons. The son of a candle-blowing imp? It's a bit doubtful. Just when everyone in the white group was shocked by the Black Dragon's strange methods, Saki returned with great joy. Guys, I got devil fruit this time. Look. Sachi's voice attracted everyone present. Baituan looked curiously and saw Sachi holding up a devil fruit in his hand. Everyone in the white group was immediately happy for Saki and congratulated him for finally getting a devil fruit of his own. Among the crowd, Blackbeard was stunned, and then crazy joy emerged in his heart. Finally, the wait is finally here, dark fruit. Ads by Bid Gear. Chapter 29 Quinn. This is unscientific. 5 elders. This guy has something. Speed up high-rise line shorts 2.5, size 20 Lululemon HK 480 Hong Kong dollars. This popular Ru. Wanokuni Ghost Island. In the skeleton hall. Kaido looked at Jack who was returning in embarrassment, and the anger in his heart almost burst out. The next second, Kaido appeared from the shadows and angrily yelled at Jack. Jack, you are a waste. Not only did you fail to complete the mission, but you also disgraced the beast's pirates. Below, Jack lowered his head and did not dare to look directly at Kaido, he said without confidence. Old boss, the Black Dragon Admiral's defense and strength are very strong, especially the defense is so strong that no matter how hard I attack, I can't break through the defense. Also, the Black Dragon has a very strange method, he can absorb armament haki. Jack raised his head and said with a lingering fear on his face, the fundamental reason why the Black Dragon was able to defeat me so quickly is this weird method. Looking up, Kaido, half of his body shrouded in shadow, raised his eyebrows in surprise. Absorb haki? After so many years of traveling across the sea, this was the first time he heard that someone could absorb haki. What Kaido admires is haki, and he also understands why Jack lost. That means that Kid has the ability to defeat the enemy haki. That's interesting. However, Kaido changed the subject again and scolded Jack. Jack, even so, it's still because of your waste. If it were Lousy and me, if the Black Dragon dared to absorb Lousy's haki, Lousy would burst him. Asshole Jack, I ask you to train on weekdays, but you are always lazy, and you are pushed off the big sign while waiting. You have become a joke. Jack is arrogant and domineering towards everyone, but he is in awe of his 2 eldest brothers and boss. Lower your head and keep your posture very low. On the other side, Quinn didn't have the same straight face as Kaido and Jin. He chewed his cigar, wiped the gears in his hands and said strangely. Speaking of which, Bastard Jack, didn't you bring a lot of my gas bombs? Did you forget to use your stupid brain? Jack quickly said, brother, of course I used it. But your poison gas has no effect on the Black Dragon. After a pause, Jack felt that what he said was wrong, so he changed his words. The Admiral Black Dragon can not only ignore the poisonous gas, but also absorb the poisonous gas and turn it into its own special attack. He used this blow to freeze me and I was completely defeated. Jack tells how Shane absorbed a large amount of poison gas and then turned it into his own attack, freezing him. At this time, Kaido, Jin and Quinn were all extremely surprised. The most surprised one was Quinn. Absorb the haki I created? He has done countless experiments, and the final result is that no matter who ingests a certain amount, he will definitely die without an antidote. Now according to Jack, the Admiral Black Dragon has absorbed thousands of poison gas bombs, exceeding the fatal amount tens of thousands of times, but nothing happened? Can it even transform poisonous gas? This is unscientific. Quinn didn't want to believe it. It seems that the Black Dragon Admiral is indeed outstanding, so it is normal for Jack to lose. Jin said more rationally. Being able to absorb haki, ignore poisonous gas, and transform poisonous gas, these methods are incredible. Ha! Kaido chuckled, and his body returned to the shadows. There is indeed something. As for the Black Dragon, Laozi is more interested in him than Akainu now. Laozi first arranges for someone to keep an eye on the Black Dragon and get his detailed information. When Laozi completes his recent haki training, he will personally meet the Black Dragon Admiral. Laozi will beat him into a bug. After saying that, Kaido stopped mentioning Shane. Being interested does not mean that Kaido takes Black Dragon seriously. Kaido still puts the development of Beast's pirates first in his heart, and he said quietly, this time Laozi went to Dressrosa in person. Let Joke restart the transaction. No one can prevent the advent of an era of violence. Holy place Mariajoy. Stussy saluted the 5 elders, and then said respectfully, 5 elders, the complete process of the Dressrosa mission is as described above. The 5 elders and Geiringer, who came to power again, were all surprised. Absorb poisonous gas. In addition to the special method of absorbing haki, is there a special method of absorbing poisonous gas? Geiringer looked at Stussy and asked. All around, other 5 elders also showed interested expressions, and they were also surprised by Shane's methods. That's right, I was able to survive thanks to the specialness of the Admiral Black Dragon. Stussy replied in the affirmative. Does the Black Dragon really have no devil fruit ability? Elder Moss looked at Elder Sarden. Elder Sarden was shaken in his heart. The information submitted by Sengoku definitely shows that Shane is not demon fruit power. Then why does he have all kinds of strange and incomprehensible methods? Elder Moss couldn't understand. After standing in a high position for many years, the only one who can surpass scientific knowledge is devil fruit. Sengoku is becoming more and more unreliable. The last time he absorbed haki, he didn't report it. Wally was quite dissatisfied with Sengoku's business capabilities. Sarden was silent for a few seconds, looked at Stussy and said, have you asked Shane? Stussy looked confused and hesitated for a second before nodding. Yes. Geringer's eyes immediately lit up and he concentrated, and the other 5 elders also showed curiosity and expectation. However, I heard Stussy say with some difficulty. He said he realized it on the spot. This answer made the 5 elders and Geiringer almost break the defense. Realize on the spot. What if we are fools? However, these big guys remained calm on the surface. It was obvious that Shane was not willing to reveal anything. Don't worry about this anymore. Anyway, the other party is affiliated with the world government. The stronger it is, the better it is for world government. Shane not only completed the task well, but also shocked the Don Quixote family boy and extinguished his arrogance and domineering. Conveniently, we also defeated the drought and enhanced the prestige of the world government. Sarden spoke as if announcing. We old guys will give Shane the award in person. The other elders nodded in agreement. Shane's action definitely brought shame to the world government. Not just a reward, but a generous reward that will make Shane excited. Elder Wally said. Shane, this little guy deserves what we do. The other elders didn't have any objections. Shane, the genius, must hold his heart firmly. At this moment, another CP0 came to report important information. The 5 elders restrained their joy and regained their majesty. Just listen to the CP0 say in a calm tone. Elders, a big event has happened in the New World Whitebeard Pirates. Blackbeard, a former member of the White Group, killed Thatch and defected to the Whitebeard Pirates. Both the 5 elders and Geiringer were accidents. How could something like this happen to the White Group, which is bound by family? Geiringer sneered again and again. What happened this time was pressing Whitebeard's face to the ground and rubbing it like crazy, ha ha ha. Originally, Shane completed the task perfectly and made us old guys happy. I didn't expect that another thing that would make us happy would happen. Sarden said with a smile. Do you think this is the good luck Shane has brought us? Elder Mars said with a slight smile. All the elders had a slight smile on their faces, and no one refuted. Maybe it really is. Since Shane became the admiral, not only has he brought surprises, but other surprises have also happened one after another. This time there is a problem within the white group. World government may be able to take this opportunity to get rid of 4 emperors. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 30 New Mission. Prevent the meeting of the 2 emperors. Wondermost Ultra Soft Nulu Crewneck Crop T-shirt size XS. Lululemon HK 480 Hong Kong dollars. Naval Headquarters Marine is abundant. Since completing the mission of Dressrosa, Shane has been enjoying himself these days, eating, drinking and having fun. A small area of about 20 square meters in the training ground is about to be transformed into an entertainment venue by Shane. There are shelves stacked with snacks in a circle, and inside are placed game consoles, sofas, easy chairs, and so on. There is even a toilet. In fact, there is a toilet on the edge of the training ground, but Shane is too lazy to walk these few steps, so he just pays for the installation himself. Now, Shane is not short of money. He gained 100 million belly from trading with the Charlie Pirates, and even gained a huge amount of gold in Dressrosa, as well as awards from the world government. On the couch, Shane had a lollipop in his mouth and his hands were shaking. At this time, he felt a little irritable. Momoshiki was already there, chattering from time to time, which seriously affected the purity. On the side, Momoshiki, who was leaning on the single sofa, looked at the surrounding furnishings and said, "Black Dragon Admiral, it has to be you. If anyone else had done this, they would have been severely punished. It's better for you. The Marshal doesn't care about you at all and lets you do whatever you want." Shane was still using his mobile phone and didn't say a word, annoying. "Why are you chirping here?" Momoshiki didn't notice on the side and continued to sigh. "But the most important thing is that the soldiers all support you, and the generals have no objections. Your father Akainu has been an admiral for so many years, but he still doesn't have this kind of influence. There are many generals who oppose his excesses." Shane's eyes were blank, ignoring Momoshiki's nagging. The system prompts in my mind kept flashing. Super defense, +4, +4. Super breathing, +1, +1. During this period, both super breathing and super strength were promoted, becoming intermediate and advanced, respectively. Only super defense has not seen any movement until now. When first joined Marine, I was already at the top, and I am still at the top now. It can only be said that it is not that easy to reach the new upper limit of mysterious level. Just as Shane was thinking about this, a soldier entered. When he saw Shane, he straightened his back immediately, his eyes full of respect and admiration. Then he saluted and said, "Black Dragon Admiral, the Marshal asked me to call you for a meeting. The Marshal also asked me to tell you that I hope you will not use the phone bug to conduct the meeting this time." Headquarters Marshal's mansion. The top brass gathered together and the corps generals took their seats. Seeing Shane come in person, everyone present was surprised. The Black Dragon Admiral actually came in person this time, which is so rare. When Sengoku saw this, he was filled with satisfaction. He specially asked someone to come and warn me. Now it seems that Shane is quite respectful to me as the Marshal. However, what Sengoku didn't know was that Shane was really bored and a change of environment would be a good idea. With Shane taking the last admiral seat, the meeting officially began. Heading up, Sengoku regained his solemnity. "I believe you all know what this discussion is about." All around, some generals were silent and some nodded. It was obvious that they all knew what they were going to say this time. Shane was the only one who looked confused, but he didn't care too much and ate the senbei leisurely. After tasting senbei, he finally understood why Garp liked it. It was really delicious. A few days ago, a defection incident occurred in the White Group, which resulted in the death of Captain Saki of the 4th Division. Sengoku's voice echoed in the conference hall. "We, Marine, have taken a series of defensive measures to prevent Whitebeard from going berserk. Is Blackbeard starting to show his ambition?" Shane murmured in his mind. After Thatch's death, Ace insisted on pursuing Blackbeard alone, which eventually led to his capture. In other words, Summit War is coming. Shane was thinking about this, but his expression remained unchanged. At the beginning, Sengoku's tone became more serious. Various events have triggered an extremely difficult matter at present. The Whitebeard pirates and the Red Hair pirates are about to come into contact in the New World. Looking around, some of the generals were solemn, some were surprised. They knew what happened to the Whitebeard pirates, but they didn't know that the Red Hair pirates and the Whitebeard pirates were going to meet. The contact between the 2 emperors was a big event that could shock the sea. "Everyone, do you have any good ways to prevent the 2 emperors from coming into contact?" The discussion below suddenly started to rise and fall. Garp raised his voice. "Does this still need to be discussed? Can't we just send a few warships there?" He glanced at Garp helplessly. "This may very well lead to the outbreak of war. And it's too risky to fight 2 sea emperors at once. Perhaps I can use the frozen fruit ability to freeze the sea and prevent the 2 emperors from coming in contact," Aokiji said calmly. Garp said, "Hey, that red-haired guy can break your ice with just one knife." Both Rear Admiral leaders present and not present expressed their suggestions, but none of them worked. Shane, on his part, had no intention of participating in the proposal and was eating snacks leisurely. According to the normal plot development, Marine's attempt to prevent this failed. But he didn't care about this and ate snacks leisurely. At this moment, Akainu, who was sitting next to Sengoku, looked towards Shane. Akainu is now very tolerant of Shane. Even when Shane was eating snacks during the meeting, he was not angry. The main thing is to get used to it. As expected, habit is a terrible thing. Akainu's glance caused everyone present to focus on Shane, including Sengoku, who was at the head. After the Dressrosa incident, Shane's business ability was recognized by all Marines. Shane was speechless. "Why are you looking at me? Don't be silly, I'm very lazy." Shane was about to wave his hand and say directly that he had no choice, but at this moment, the system voice in his mind sounded. Mission. Prevent the two emperors from contacting each other. Complete this task to get rewards. Close black lens bracket Shane. I feel helpless. Okay. It seems that I can't do anything if I don't solve it myself. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 31 Geilinger. Let's see who is better, my son or Akainu's son. It's time to struggle again. Shane originally wanted to raise his hand and retract it. Facing the eyes, he picked up a piece of senbei and said calmly while eating. No need to trouble others, I will take care of it myself. Sengoku, San Admiral, he and Garp all raised their eyebrows slightly, but they didn't expect Shane to actually take over the task. The other generals have blazing eyes. After the first two missions, Shane is very reliable in their hearts. Black Dragon Admiral, what good idea do you have this time? Yes. Can you tell us? Is it the same as last time, still absorbing haki to solve the crisis of contact between the two emperors? The generals were talking to each other, and they all wanted to know how Shane planned to solve the problem this time. At the beginning, Sengoku was also confused as to how Shane planned to solve the problem. Shane, can you tell us? Shane agreed, nodded, swallowed the senbei in his mouth and said. The two emperors are in contact, and the one who proposed the contact is the red-haired one. The first one, Sengoku, was surprised, and the other three Admiral, Garp and he were also surprised. How did Shane know that the person who proposed the meeting was a redhead? Sengoku didn't mention this at the meeting just now. It seems that Shane is not as ignorant as he thought. Is this little guy always pretending? But this is not the point at all. Sengoku and others also knew that it was the red hair who took the initiative to request a meeting, so they continued to listen to Shane's next words in silence. In that case, let's solve it from the source. Can we just stop the redhead? Shane's words stunned the generals present. They didn't expect the Black Dragon's method to be so simple and crude. The most important thing is that stopping red hair is so easy to say. These are four emperors, many times more powerful than Doflamingo. Shane, do you still want to use the same method you used against the Don Quixote family? Akainu said solemnly. You have to know that those are the four emperors, one of the overlords of the sea. And the red hair pirates are known as the Iron-Walled Pirate Group. The captain and officers are very powerful. The other generals around nodded slightly. They all understood the power of red hair pirates. Even with the help of two admirals, the red hair pirates cannot be suppressed easily. In the previous chapter, Sengoku pondered for a moment and then added, one more thing, Shanks' identity is extremely special. You can use the method of absorbing haki, but you can't go too far. In order to prevent the outbreak of war, you can't use too much force. So this mission is trickier and more difficult than the Don Quixote family mission. Shane naturally knows the identity of the red-haired man, but the system has already issued a mission, so he can't go without it. Nodding, Shane said that he knew, of course I know that the mission is difficult, but I am sure, otherwise I would not have accepted the mission. Looking up, Sengoku let out a sigh of relief when he saw Shane insisting on taking over the task. I don't plan to continue talking. After the first two missions, Sengoku still believes in Shane. In this case, the task of preventing the two emperors from contacting each other will be left to you. Shane, I hope you can surprise us this time too. Other generals around him also joined in cheering for Shane. But this mission is extremely difficult. The two emperors are at the top of the world. If one thing goes wrong, a large-scale battle is likely to break out. Therefore, the generals still have no confidence in their hearts. Holy place Marijoy. Elder Sardin hung up the phone, then took a breath and said, Shane still took over the arduous task of stopping the two emperors this time. This kid is very positive, Elder Moss said with emotion. But the characters in this mission involve two powerful men at the top of the world's pyramid. How does Shane plan to deal with it? Elder Wally asked. Shane said that to untie the bell, the person who tied the bell must solve it at the source and directly stop the red hair. Elder Sartain explained, and then looked at Geiringer. The other elders also looked at Geiringer. Gellinger, there is a high probability that Shane will use Doflamingo's methods, or we ask Marine to replace him, Elder Nasushiro said. On the side, Geiringer, who was crossing his legs, raised his eyebrows and said, Why are you looking at me? Even if I say to change people, who else in Marine has a good way to stop it? Otherwise, Shane wouldn't be taking over the task. Just right. Let Sakazuki's son learn how powerful my useless son is. The five elders raised their eyebrows slightly. The red hair is very powerful, but I'm afraid Shane may not be able to deal with it as easily as the Don Quixote family. Once both sides get angry, it will be a fight to the death. With the red hair pirates fighting power, the 5 elders were a little worried that Shane would be beaten to death in the end. After thinking for a while, Elder Sarton said, "Let's let Stussy go with us on this mission. In case Shane is killed by the redhead, then our world government will suffer huge losses. Today Shane is a rising superpower in world government. The 5 elders don't want anything to happen to Shane. At the critical moment, if Stussy comes forward, there is a high probability that Shane can be saved. Certainly, the 5 elders do not want that situation to develop. Because that means the mission failed." A few hours later, Naval Headquarters. "Black Dragon, I'm glad that we are working together on a mission again," Stussy said to Shane with a sweet smile. "How happy are you?" Shane replied lightly, and then walked past Stussy. I was speechless. With Stussy here, this trip would not be peaceful. Behind him, Stussy was choked by Shane's words. Why does this kid Shane always leave me speechless? New world, above the sea. Boss, why are there no Marines intercepting us along the way? Usopp stood on the watchtower and looked around in surprise. Below, Lucky Lou joked while eating chicken drumsticks. Marine is sensible and knows that sending troops to stop us will have no effect. In all directions, the members of the red group suddenly burst out laughing and started teasing each other. The red-haired man smiled as he listened to his crew's teasing, but he still said, "Everyone, no matter what you say, be cautious. After all, Marine's combat power is not weak." As soon as he finished speaking, Usopp on the watchtower immediately issued a warning. "Boss, a Marine warship was discovered." Below, the red-haired Ben Beckman and others are surprised. "Are you sure there's only one?" Ben Beckman asked. Usopp nodded. "Okay, then, the flag on the warship is..." "Huh?" Usopp said unexpectedly. "It's the new Admiral Black Dragon." Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 32 Red Hair. Black Dragon, give me some face. Shane. I refuse. On my level bag 2.019L, Lululemon HK 1.080 Hong Kong dollars whether your morning starts with E. Usopp's words surprised Hongtuan and others. Marine sent Admiral directly? Ben Beckman asked in surprise. "Aren't you afraid that Admiral will be left in a new world by us?" Lucky Lou murmured. "The new Admiral Black Dragon." The red-haired man murmured the name of the Black Dragon with a smile on his face. "If it were normal days now, I wouldn't mind playing with him." The Black Dragon Admiral has been in the limelight recently, and the red hair is also very interested in the specific strength of the new Admiral Black Dragon. "It's a pity, I don't have time now, I have to keep the appointment with the Whitebeard pirates as agreed." After the red-haired man finished speaking, he said directly to Ben Beckman and Usopp. "Just do it directly and attack the warships. Try not to cause too many casualties to the opponent. Otherwise, we won't be able to be clean for a while." Ben Beckman and Usopp didn't ask any questions and answered with a smile. Then both of them used their long-range attacks to attack the approaching warship. Invincible Starburst. Usopp used a slingshot. However, this attack that seemed like a joke actually created a tooth-piercing explosion in the air, and its power was jaw-dropping. Ben Beckman also took out his pistol. He chewed on the cigarette and didn't say anything, he just shot with a smile. Gun out. It feels like what was fired was not bullets, but thousands of cannonballs. Not only were these two cadres attacking, but the fortmen also aimed their guns at the warship and fired cannonballs. Marines side. The Marine soldiers were extremely surprised when they saw the Red Regiment's attack and felt the overwhelming attacks from Ben Beckman and Usopp. Okay, that's outrageous. Is this the power that a pistol and a slingshot can have? If this hits a warship, the warship will instantly sink into the sea. Faced with the Red Hair Pirates, we clearly understood the weight of their title of 4 emperors. The soldiers could only rely on the Black Dragon Admiral, and their eyes focused on the Black Dragon. Stussy also looked at Shane on the side. "Do you want to fight back?" Shane did not respond, but said calmly, "If you attack without saying hello, the Red Hair Pirates also have no manners at all." After saying that, Shane jumped up and targeted Ben Beckman and Usopp. He didn't make any attack gesture and directly used his body to block it. The two men's terrifying attacks hit Shane, causing a huge force and an explosion. The soldiers on the warship could clearly feel the terrible aftermath. However, Shane fell back on the bow of the warship like a normal person, and then said calmly, "Keep moving forward." The soldiers cheered suddenly on the warship, and their morale soared. Across the sea, on the observation deck, Usopp said, "Boss, all attacks from Ben Beckman and I were resisted by Shane." "Yes, the other party did not suffer any harm. Did you use haki?" the redhead asked. "No, purely physical resistance." Usopp told what he observed with the telescope. Below, Red Hair, Ben Beckman and other members of the Red Team are all accidents. Let's not talk about Usopp, let's talk about Ben Beckman. Ben Beckman's strength is close to the Emperor level, but the Black Dragon can actually resist it with his pure body? Huh. It's just like the rumors, the physical defense is extremely powerful. An accident was an accident, and the red-haired man didn't care too much. Stop attacking. The red-haired man became increasingly curious about the new Admiral Black Dragon. After a while, the red hair pirates ceased fire, and the two sides met soon. On the bow of the Red Hair pirates, Red Hair, Ben Beckman, Lucky Road and Usopp all gathered together. As for Marine, there are only Shane and Stussy on the bow. Stussy was no stranger to the redhead with a special identity, so she ignored him and began to look at Shane. Beside and behind him, officials such as Ben Beckman and Usopp also looked at Shane. They are quite subtle in their minds. Fourth, Admiral is really a brat with no hair at all. You and others actually had an interview with a kid? However, Shane's previous record still allowed them to suppress this weird feeling. The red-haired man chuckled and said, "The Black Dragon Admiral is indeed as rumored." Absolute young hero. Shane didn't intend to talk nonsense, it was still the same idea. Hurry up and complete the task, go back early and enjoy the peace and tranquility of the years. Redhead, you must also know my purpose, Shane said calmly. On the opposite bow, the red-haired man raised his eyebrows slightly, then chuckled. Black Dragon, you really have no humanity at all. Can't we just chat? You fight when you meet. Is this the human touch of you red-hair pirates? Shane raised his eyebrows in imitation of the red hair and asked. The red-haired man was speechless for a moment, but soon smiled again. Oh my, I didn't expect that I couldn't speak to a brat. Forget it. Let's get straight to the point. Black Dragon, I have an urgent meeting with Whitebeard, how about you give me some face? After a pause, the redhead added, I promise not to harm any of Marine's interests. What? Activate the face fruit on me. Useless. Ha, what's the emergency? Shane smiled lightly. Isn't it just asking Whitebeard to recall Ace? Go back. With Ace's stubborn character, even if you successfully meet Whitebeard, the result will still be the same. Opposite him, the red-haired pupils couldn't help but widen, his face full of disbelief. How could the Black Dragon know my intentions? Even among the red hair pirates, only officials like Ben Beckman know the purpose of my meeting. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 33. The Red Group was shocked. Absorb haki. Shane made the point, which surprised the redhead, Ben Beckman and others. The red-haired man had this thought for a moment. Could it be that Ben Beckman and other core cadres have Marine spies? But on second thought, I quickly rejected this idea. Next to Shane, Stussy's heart moved. Why did Shane know the purpose of the red-haired meeting with Whitebeard? Even their CP spies couldn't find out the slightest information. I looked at the red hair pirates again and saw everyone's surprised and unexpected reactions, which proved that what Shane said was true. This young man who usually seems to be deaf to what is going on outside the window actually has an intelligence department more powerful than the CP spy agency behind his back. Just thinking about it made Stussy shudder. Impossible, absolutely impossible. It took hundreds of years for the world government to establish CP espionage and grow it. How could Shane have a better intelligence organization than this? But why does he know the purpose of Redhair's meeting with Whitebeard? Unable to understand. I can't figure it out. Opposite me, the red-haired man quickly recovered from his surprise and laughed. Marine's hands are really everywhere. I will no longer dwell on this issue, and the internal issues will be resolved by myself afterwards. Black Dragon, now that you know my purpose, you understand that my meeting with Whitebeard is nothing, so you can let us red-hair pirates pass, right? Ah, if I let you pass, my mission will have failed. Shane shook his head. Redhead, you also know in your heart how great the impact of the meeting between the two emperors will be. What will the outside world think if we, Marine, leave things alone? Do you think we Marines are afraid of you and Whitebeard, so we don't dare to stop you? Or do you think we Marines don't care at all? The prestige of Marine will be affected to a certain extent. Redhair, I am also following orders, please give me some face. Shane also plans to activate the face fruit ability once. Black Dragon, it seems that you won't let us pass no matter what. The red-haired expression began to become serious. Shane touched his nose. Redhead, I can't let you go, but I can personally convey your purpose to Whitebeard. Opposite me, the red-haired man directly ignored Shane's proposal and showed a little helplessness. Shane, if this is the case, then don't blame me. As soon as he finished speaking, the red-haired man's eyes flashed red. Shane raised his eyebrows. This is. Beside him, Stussy's expression changed drastically. The redhead is going to use Conqueror's haki. As soon as Stussy finished speaking, a surge of momentum burst out from the red-haired body. This momentum made Marine feel like he was facing an emperor from ancient times, dominating the world and feeling full of oppression. Under such shock, one by one the soldiers rolled their eyes, fainted and fell to the ground. Under the red-haired haki, there is no reason for soldiers to have strong willpower to persevere. Even the Vice Admiral will lose combat effectiveness in front of his haki. Next to Shane, Stussy's pretty face turned hard, and she felt as if a huge mountain was pressing on her body. No matter how she resisted, it had no effect, and she was unable to move while standing there. Stussy couldn't help but glance at Shane aside, and saw that Shane was not under too much pressure in the red-haired conqueror's haki. I was greatly surprised. Not only was Shane powerful, but he also had such strong willpower? Ha! On the opposite side, the red-haired man was also very impressed and chuckled. You are worthy of being promoted to the 4th Admiral by Marine. You have such strong willpower at such a young age. But Black Dragon, all the members of your command have lost their fighting ability. Are you sure you want to continue to stop me? Shane ignored the redhead because he just took a few breaths and discovered that Conqueror's haki is also a special gas. It's the Welfare Bureau again. When the thought came to mind, Shane immediately activated super breathing, and with the contraction of his chest, he began to suck Conqueror's haki fiercely. Suddenly, all of the red-haired and powerful Conqueror's haki was sucked into Shane's body. The original experience value of super breathing, in my mind, was +1. But at this moment, the prompt changes. Super breathing experience value +500, +500, +500, +500. Even Shane, who was in a calm state of mind, was shocked. You must know that the experience value of super breathing is not doubled, it is directly increased by 500 points. Tisk tisk tisk. I felt in my heart. As expected of the red-haired Shanks, the top-notch Conqueror's haki is not limited. But Shane ignored this and began to concentrate on absorbing the red-haired Conqueror's haki. As the reminders flashed crazily in his mind, Shane's eyes were filled with golden light. This is better than absorbing Quinn's poisonous gas. As the red-haired Conqueror's haki was absorbed, the pressure felt by Stussy beside him disappeared and he regained his mobility. But she still stood there, shocked by Shane's operation. She looked at Shane, who was sucking fiercely next to her in confusion, her arms trembling slightly. Suck, absorb Conqueror's haki. Wah, what's going on? Poison gas, Conqueror's haki, armament haki, is there anything else that Shane can't absorb? On the opposite side, the red hair pirates were also shocked by Shane's operation. The Black Dragon is absorbing Conqueror's haki? What kind of operation is this? After traveling on the sea for so many years, he also reached the top of the 4 emperors. The method of absorbing Conqueror's haki that I saw today was the first time. Everyone in the red hair pirates felt that their worldview was shaking. That's outrageous. The leader's red-haired eyes narrowed. The Black Dragon indeed has many strange methods. But he was surprised, and the red-haired man was not discouraged. Black Dragon, let me see how much you can suck. Will it be bursting? The red hair and eyes are sharper, and Conqueror's haki is stronger. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 34. Absorb Conquerors and then spit it out. What kind of terror is this? The red-haired Conqueror's haki is even more terrifying in intensity. This time, Conqueror's haki not only has a stronger shock effect, but also brings physical damage. The guardrail of Red Hair's ship was shocked and cracks appeared. The same happened to Shane's warship, and the surrounding waves began to surge wildly. Stussy was extremely surprised. The red-haired Conqueror's haki was more powerful than expected. She couldn't help but look at Shane, feeling a little worried. How long can Shane absorb it? Will it be unbearable? What Stussy didn't know was that Shane was very excited at this time. Right, keep going. Keep sending me benefits. Shane activated the super breathing attribute to ultimate, absorbing Conqueror's haki like crazy. Opposite, the faces of the red hair pirates' cadres kept changing, and their hearts were shocked. A drop of cold sweat broke out on Lucky Lou's forehead. How long has the Black Dragon been taking this breath? Isn't it hypoxic? Many members of the red group felt numb. It's simply anti-human. If it were them, they would have been suffocated long ago. The red-haired man was extremely surprised and felt something was wrong. Don't wait. Shane didn't stop. His own energy was exhausted first. Simply, the red-haired man chose to stop. In an instant, the aura of dominating the world disappeared, and everything returned to calm. Only the cracks that opened on both sides' ships proved the battle that had just occurred. Shane was a little unfinished. Huh? Why did the red hair stop? Go on, I can still absorb it, I really didn't lie to you. Opposite, the members of Red Hair Pirates were speechless and looked at each other. It's just because you can still suck that you choose to stop. Seeing that Red Hair Pirates ignored him, Shane simply shrugged. Okay, let's leave it like this. Not a bad harvest. After absorbing the red-haired Conqueror's haki this time, super breathing was successfully promoted to advanced and reached the Admiral level. Suppressing a hint of joy, Shane said calmly, Redhead, now that your shock is over, it's my turn next. Opposite me, the red-haired man smiled back without fear. Oh? I'm really looking forward to your Conqueror's haki. Shane's operation just now made the redhead more interested in him. The redhead wants to know how strong the Black Dragon's Conqueror's haki is. On Stussy's side, she was surprised. Shane wants to shock the opponent with Conqueror's haki? Speaking of which, has Shane awakened Conqueror's haki? Thinking of this, I heard Shane smile lightly and say, maybe it makes you regretful, redhead. I did not awaken the Conqueror's haki. Red Hair, Ben Beckman are all accidents. The latter couldn't help but ask, Black Dragon, since you have not awakened Conqueror's haki, how are you going to scare us? The redhead is also surprised by this. I heard Shane laugh and say, of course I have my own way. After saying that, Shane's chest rose and fell again, and this time he made a gesture of exhaling. Shane's simple breathing was extremely sharp. A hurricane of extreme cold roars out, sweeping towards the Red Hair Pirates. Is this the conversion attack mentioned in the newspaper? Ben Beckman immediately thought of what was reported in the newspaper. Not only can it transform poisonous gas, but it can also transform Conqueror's haki. It makes no sense at all. Yasop was shocked. The hurricane spit out by Shane not only has a freezing effect, but also contains Conqueror's haki. A series of operations completely exceeded everyone's understanding of red hair pirates and shocked all of them beyond measure. The hurricane with the extremely cold attribute and Conqueror's haki swept across the red-haired pirate ship. Many members with weak willpower on the plywood fainted and fell to the ground, while the crew members with stronger willpower did not escape and were directly frozen by the extremely cold air. Into ice sculptures. Even strong cadres such as Ben Beckman, Usopp, and Lackey Lou had to take action to resist. But even if they tried to resist, they were still cut by the fierce Conqueror's haki. Everyone's hearts were filled with excitement, it was so powerful. This Conqueror's haki comes from a red-haired man, one of the top Conqueror's haki in the world. The red-haired leader looked at the scene around him, his face darkening little by little. Weird, sharp, strong, he must take action, otherwise everyone except the cadres will be traumatized. The redhead originally planned to use Conqueror's haki to counter the wave, but after thinking about it and worrying about being absorbed by Shane, he had to give up this plan. He pulled out Griffin, and then used his knife energy to defeat the hurricane breathed out by Shane. After several consecutive counts, the hurricane that Shane spit out was completely blocked, and the surroundings returned to calm. Seeing that there were only a few dozen sailors still able to move around, the red-haired man felt that it was outrageous. Around him, Ben Beckman, Lackey Lou and others looked at the Black Dragon. They no longer had the relaxation and indifference at the beginning, only concentration and attention. It doesn't have the terrifying destructive power of the original 3 Admiral, but it makes people feel more troublesome than the original 3 Admiral. Ben Beckman made a deep comment. Every cadre was silent, no one refuted, it was true. The method is too weird. It absorbs Conqueror's haki, and can also transform Conqueror's haki into its own power, forming a hurricane with extreme cold, Conqueror's haki. Usopp calmed down his emotions and kept his tone and voice normal. Weird and outrageous. This is why Marine made an exception to promote the 4th Admiral. When the red-haired people looked at Shane, they were already facing a powerful man and they no longer looked at him as a brat. Even thinking about Shane continuing to grow and become more powerful in the future, everyone felt slightly palpitated. The red-haired leader stared at Shane deeply for several seconds, then calmed down his emotions, and then said in a deep voice. Shane, what the hell is going on? The redhead was extremely eager to know the answer. Why on earth can Shane absorb Conqueror's haki? As an intern who admires Roger, he believes in what Roger said about haki's supremacy. This is also the reason why he didn't eat devil fruit, it's a kind of belief. But now the faith collapsed at this moment, and the new generation of Marine Admiral in front of him had the means to restrain haki. Want to learn? I'll teach you. Shane cursed in his heart and said without changing his expression. As long as you promise not to meet the Whitebeard pirates, I will tell you. The red-haired man was startled for a moment, then laughed and shook his head. Forget it, let's just see the real outcome. After saying that, the red-haired man once again grasped the griffin at his waist and pulled it out. The sound of the blade scraping against iron was heard, and as the long knife was unsheathed, the red-haired western sword was pointed directly at Shane. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 35. I just avoided from the front and was actually unscathed? It was obvious that the red-haired man planned to take action himself and did not intend to waste any more time. Facing the red-haired man with the long knife pointed at him, Shane showed no fear or anger on his face. He still looked calm and calm. Red hair, what are you doing in a hurry? Shane said calmly. I think you don't want to affect the members under your command, right? Me too. The red-haired expression had no choice, but he was not in a hurry to take action, but planned to see what Shane planned to do. He really didn't want to affect the members under his command. Many members were still fainting or were frozen and needed to be thawed. Besides Shane, Stussy looked at Shane unexpectedly. I thought Shane was inhumane, but I didn't expect that he valued the lives of soldiers. This is quite different from Akainu. But on the vast sea, how can we avoid affecting the crew members on the ship? Suddenly, Stussy thought, Shane is planning to. As soon as Shane made the action of breathing out again, everyone in the Red Hair Pirates immediately became alert, and Ben Beckman and others were ready to resist. However, Shane did not aim at them, but exhaled towards the vast sea beside him. The hurricane is roaring. Ben Beckman's eyes moved. This hurricane is only extremely cold, without haki. Black Dragon is planning to. I'm going. Usopp exclaimed from the side. I'm planning to build an Iceland. Lucky Road looked so shocked that he even forgot to chew the chicken drumstick in his hand. It's comparable to Aokiji's frozen fruit ability. You don't have devil fruit powers, but you can do things that only devil fruit powers can do. It's really a unique feat. Besides Shane, Stussy was as surprised as a red ball, and her eyelids were twitching. Is there such an operation? If Aokiji saw this scene, would he cry? There is a high probability that it will happen. His devil fruit ability is like eating it for nothing. In the shock of the people around him, Shane created a little Iceland. Although it is not as exaggerated as the Aokiji Admiral freezing range, it is enough. As soon as he finished speaking, Shane jumped onto the ice first and began to relax and bask in the sun. He had a feeling that super defense was about to be promoted. As long as you were promoted to the secret level, you will be a hegemonic level comparable to rocks. Seeing Shane leisurely sunbathing on the ice, even the good-tempered redhead felt sullen in his heart. Shouldn't the strong and the strong respect each other? Never mind. Because of Shane's strength, he almost forgot that the other person was still a little kid who didn't understand anything. The appointment time with the Whitebeard pirates is approaching, and the Black Dragon must be driven back as soon as possible. Thinking of this, the redhead no longer hesitated, holding Griffin in hand and rushing towards Shane. So fast, Stussy was surprised. There was still an afterimage of red hair on the bow of the ship, but he himself had already appeared on the ice. God avoids. The redhead came to the ice without hesitation and appeared in front of Shane in less than a second. Taking action is God's avoidance. Even the gods would avoid this sword. The world's top slashes combined with the unparalleled conqueror's haki made the sky change color. This sword shocked the world and made ghosts and gods cry. Faced with the red-haired knife, Shane did not dodge or dodge, letting it strike in front of his chest. There was a loud explosion, and the terrifying slashing power poured out. The ice that Shane had built instantly shattered, and the seawater rose into the sky, forming a column of water. The violent waves engulfed Shane, and the red-haired man immediately retreated to the ice that was not affected by the waves. On the red-haired ship, all the officers on the bow suddenly cheered. Boss, this knife is as beautiful as ever. Gods avoid, gods avoid. Even if the gods want to avoid, the Black Dragon dares not to avoid. I guess he regrets it now. I'm afraid I won't have a chance to regret it. The boss has already sent him to his death with this strike. Ha. It won't happen to Gui Shi, but it will definitely be severely damaged. Usopp sneered. The leader, Ben Beckman, blew out a smoke ring. Shanks, are you too harsh on a marine newcomer? All of the red hair pirates just feel like they have regained their place and feel proud. The Black Dragon Admiral has been showing off his skills just now, and now it's finally their turn. On the bow of the marine ship, Stussy's expression changed drastically. She quickly lay down on the guardrail, looking worriedly at the still surging water. How is Shane? Is this guy too arrogant? He actually chose to resist the red-haired, divine avoidance. He was seriously injured and fell into the deep sea. His life was extremely dangerous. Stussy planned to jump directly into the sea and fish Shane out. But at this moment, the red-haired man on the ice did not relax, and looked ready to fight. He said to the excited red group, "The Black Dragon let me attack on purpose. I'm afraid it's nothing." The smiles of everyone in the red hair pirates suddenly froze in place. They wanted to refute, but it was their own captain who said this. Just when everyone was silent, the sea surface that had calmed down suddenly surged again. I saw the seawater forming in Uzumaki where Shane sank. What happened? Both marine and red hair pirates were extremely surprised. Just then, Shane's voice came. Something's wrong. Red hair, you are worthy of being Giringer's son. Your talent and attack are indeed powerful. On the ice, the red-haired man frowned. Does Shane know his identity? But I was relieved when I thought that this guy was Admiral. He stared at Uzumaki, waiting for Shane to appear. He wanted to see what kind of damage his attack would cause to the opponent. I saw that the bottom of Uzumaki reached the bottom of the seabed. The red-haired pupils were slightly dilated, with a look of disbelief on his face. Over at the bow of the ship, Lackey Lu exclaimed, the Black Dragon is absorbing seawater. Really, can everything be absorbed? Outrageous, too outrageous. Soon, Uzumaki began to solidify and was turned into a solid state by the extreme cold. And Shane also walked out of the northern freezing ice and appeared in everyone's sight. I saw an extremely obvious blood mark on Shane's chest. Upon seeing this, Stussy immediately jumped out to Shane and asked, "Are you okay? Really, why is your head so strong? You have to be tough on the red-haired, god's avoider. This move on the other side is very powerful." However, Stussy's words were extremely harsh to the red-haired ears. Very strong. A very strong attack will leave an inconsequential stab wound on the opponent. It looks ferocious, but in fact it doesn't have much impact. The defense power of the Black Dragon, it makes me feel a little nervous. The pirate captain, Ben Beckman, Lucky Lu and other cadres all gasped. Shocked by Shane's strong defense. Relying purely on physical defense, just this kind of damage? How long does this guy's body grow? Ads by Bid Gear. Chapter 36 Super Defense Promotion, Reaching the Secret Level. Shane was actually a little surprised by the red-haired attack. The current bloody mark on his chest is Shane's most serious injury so far. I didn't expect the red-haired attack to be so powerful. The moment he broke through the defense, Shane was slightly frightened. Just as Shane was thinking about this while walking out of the sea, suddenly a systematic voice sounded in his mind. Congratulations to host, Super Defense, has been promoted and reached the secret level, close black lens bracket. Shane's heart moved, much faster than expected. Although it is unexpected, it is reasonable. At this moment, Shane could clearly feel that his body was undergoing transformation. His skin, muscles, nerves, bones. Even every cell became stronger and harder. The defense is improved to several levels. This transformation stopped blood from flowing out of Shane's wounds. However, since defense and recovery are not linked, it has not been repaired. Speaking of which, how terrifying will the secret level, super defense, be? Shane was filled with anticipation. At this time, suddenly lightning flashed across the sky, followed by rumbling thunder. Shane looked up in surprise and saw a new version of red hair that he had never seen before. The red-haired man's hair stood up one by one, his eyes were dyed red, and his aura was extremely strong.
Boss is on full fire. Usopp exclaimed. Boss is really going to take action. Lackey Lu swallowed.
The last time the boss exploded with all his strength was during the battle for the Four Emperors.
But that was 6 years ago, and now the red-haired one is stronger and countless times more powerful.
Stussy felt the aura bursting out from the red hair, and her face became extremely serious. I didn't expect that besides divine avoidance, the red hair had stronger means.
Even their CP spies didn't know about this, so the evaluation of the red-haired combat power needed to be improved.
The intense pressure made Stussy break out in cold sweat. The previous divine avoidance broke Shane's defense. If he were to attack Shane in this state, Shane would be severely injured. It's almost time for me to show up. The 5 elders sent themselves to follow him just to prevent Shane from having an accident.
On the ice, the red hair exploded with unprecedented fighting power, like a red god of war.
Then he said in a low, thunderous voice, "Black Dragon, I say it one last time, get out of the way. This matter concerns an important friend of mine, and I must go." "Your friend?" Shane felt contempt in his heart. When Ace approached the red-haired man before, the red-haired man obviously did not recognize him. It was not until Ace said that he was Luffy's brother that the red-haired man happily accepted him. But these are not important. Shane looked at the red-haired man with a terrifying aura and smiled lightly. "Red-haired, if you want to see Whitebeard, I can let you go." The red-haired man was slightly surprised when he heard this. On the bow of the pirate ship, the Red Regiment cadres were equally surprised. "What does Black Dragon mean? Is this agreed?" "Haha, I guess I agreed, and was intimidated by our boss's powerful aura. The Black Dragon has strong defense and can withstand the god's avoidance, but the boss in this state has the conditions to kill the Black Dragon." Boss made the Black Dragon submissive. The cadres were full of excitement. On the other side, Stussy's beautiful eyes were flowing, and she didn't know why she felt inexplicably lost. She really wanted to see Shane continue to be so arrogant, but now Shane gave in. After Hong Fa showed his strongest posture, he chose to give up this mission. With a chuckle of unknown meaning, Stussy murmured silently, "That's good, at least she doesn't have to worry about Shane being hit hard by the redhead." Although the contact between the two emperors has a huge impact, it can be slowly restored in the future. The two emperors are not an alliance anyway. However, just when everyone thought Shane was scared, they heard him continue. "But the prerequisite for letting you see Whitebeard is that you can make me injured and bleed. As long as it can be done, I will not stop it immediately." Shane's words made the red-haired man and the Red Regiment officials on the boat look at each other, somewhat confused. "The Black Dragon said this to mean that we can pass?" Usopp looked at Ben Beckman and asked. "Obviously, I was bleeding from the boss's divine avoidance attack just now. Now that the boss is using a stronger stance, it's not a simple matter to make him injured and bleed?"
But no matter how you look at it, I don't think Black Dragon intends to release water.
Legilu, Usopp and other cadres didn't know what medicine was sold in the Black Dragon Admiral gourd for a while. If you are really serious, then this Heiko boast is a bit outrageous. Don't think about what will happen next. However, among the red-haired cadres, Ben Beckman remained silent. He felt that the Black Dragon coming out of the ice cave was a little different from before. But he couldn't tell what exactly was different or what felt different. Holding a cigarette in his mouth, Ben Beckman looked at the red hair and murmured, "Shanks should be able to feel it."
Far away, a blue flame passed quickly in the air, and it turned out to be Phoenix, Marco.
While looking at the sea, he murmured, "What are Red Hair and the others doing? Did something unexpected happen, or did you let the Whitebeard pirates do something else? I really want to give the Whitebeard pirates a try. I can only say that the Red Hair pirates are looking for death." The Whitebeard pirates have arrived at the agreed place. Now that the appointed time has come and the Red Hair pirates are still missing, they rule out Marco from coming out to take a look. Marco suddenly noticed changes in the sky in the distance, and the lightning and thunder were very different.
His eyes suddenly narrowed slightly. I can still feel a sense of oppression from such a distance.
Red-haired ones? As soon as the thought came to his mind, Marco accelerated his speed and flew quickly in that direction. Soon he saw the red hair on the ice and a marine kid facing each other dozens of meters away. Black Dragon. Marco is considered the newspaper king among the Whitebeard pirates, so he gave up the Black Dragon immediately. Marine sent out one of his admirals. Also, one person stopped the entire Red Hair pirates?
Is there any mistake? Where can a new admiral go with his strength and background?
In the distance, the red-haired man slashed at Shane again. "Shane, tremble." Marco was shocked by the power of the red-haired sword. "This sword is more powerful than the god's avoidance used when I faced off against Hawkeye. Is this the time to kill the Black Dragon Admiral?" Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 37. The whole audience was shocked. This defensive strength is the best in ancient and modern times. Marco was a little confused at this time. What happened just now that made the red hair take this stance and attack the black dragon? The key is, Marco felt even more confused when he saw that Shane didn't react at all when faced with the red-haired powerful slash. He neither defended nor counterattacked. What's going on with the Black Dragon Admiral? Frightened. Even the father himself did not dare to look down upon the red hair's attack. Below, after hearing Shane's conditions, the red-haired man stopped talking nonsense. Directly deliver a powerful blow, God falls.
This is a powerful blow that he has constantly challenged and exceeded his limits over the years.
On the bow of the marine ship, Stussy's face changed drastically. The red-haired sword has surpassed Geilinger to a certain extent. Beyond divine avoidance, can Shane resist? Stussy felt that there was a high probability that it would not work. She wanted to stop it, but it was too late. On the bow of the red-hair pirates, Ben Beckman made no noise, while Usopp and other officials around him had solemn faces. In their opinion, this sword attack will definitely severely damage the Black Dragon, or even kill it. If they really killed the Black Dragon, they would be ready for war. The red-haired sword made the world change color, as if this was the only sword in the world. The knife comes out. The gods fell, which is where the name, Gods Fall, comes from. The terrifying knife arrived in front of Shane in an instant, and struck down immediately. However, the attack that shocked everyone came to an abrupt end when it finally landed on Shane's shoulder, unable to make any progress. The moment all the power poured into Shane's shoulders, it all collapsed.
But Shane didn't move at all. The redhead looked straight at Shane, shocked beyond measure when he saw that she hadn't left a single mark on his shoulder.
No, it's impossible. The red-haired man's mentality is a bit broken. What's going on now? Obviously Shane was bleeding just after arriving at the God's Refuge. The heads of the red-hair pirates officers all around were numb. It has no effect at all. Did the boss withdraw his strength at the last moment? Lakilu muttered dully. The Admiral Black Dragon can also increase its defense in a short period of time. Usopp's scalp felt numb.
Otherwise, how to explain that God's avoidance can harm the Black Dragon, but even more, God's death cannot?
The cigarette in Ben Beckman's hand fell to the ground, but he didn't even know it. He looked inexplicably horrified. Could it be that the different feeling just now was that Shane's defense had become stronger? Even Shanks can't break Shane, so who else in the world can do it? On the other side, Stussy also had a dull expression on her face, and her heart was filled with turmoil. What the hell? Why didn't the red-haired man's knife cause any harm? It's not that Stussy wants Shane to get hurt, but it's just unscientific.
Shane was obviously bleeding just now. Could it be that Shane didn't use his strongest defense before?
Lee, outrageous. Where are Shane's limits? The whole audience was shocked to the extreme. They had truly witnessed the power of the Black Dragon. In the distance, Marco swallowed hard and felt his scalp numb. Hey, what the hell is this? As soon as I came here, I saw a scene that subverted my three views. The red hair's sword that went beyond the limit had no effect. The Black Dragon's defense was stronger than Ace described. And it's still many times stronger. Ace also said before that they teamed up to cause Black Dragon to suffer a skin injury, but now it seems that he said it just to save some face for himself, right? Exaggerate. Definitely the strongest creature in Marine. On the ice below, the corner of Shane's mouth raised slightly, and he who shocked the whole audience said to the red-haired man calmly. Redhead, you can back out now. The red-haired eyes flickered, filled with complex emotions such as confusion, unwillingness, etc. And at this moment, a sudden sound pierced the silence and hit Shane's eyebrows, and sparks suddenly appeared between Shane's eyebrows. A touch of gunpowder black suddenly appeared between his brows, but it was harmless. Shane raised his eyebrows and looked in the direction of the gunshot, and saw Ben Beckman's black muzzle pointing at him, and the black muzzle was still smoking.
Shane tilted his head, questioning. Ben Beckman said bluntly. Black Dragon, the condition is that you will be injured and bleed, but there is no stipulation on how many people will take action.
All around, the red-hair pirates understood this and made fighting gestures. On the bow of the marine ship, Stussy frowned and said dissatisfied, Red Hair, are you red-hair pirates so shameless? The redhead remained silent, but Shane on the other side said, It's okay, Stussy. Just let the red-hair pirates come along and let them be more willing. Stussy was speechless. The other party was obviously a deadbeat. But at this time, Stussy was in a very good mood. Because Shane is still the arrogant Black Dragon Admiral, and he never gave up from the beginning to the end. Of course, Shane didn't know what Stussy was thinking. He hooked his fingers and signaled for red-hair pirates to join him. Black Dragon, in this case, don't regret it, Ben Beckman, Lucky Road, and Usopp all set out to attack Shane.
Gunshots rang out one after another, and Lucky Road's ultimate speed bombarded Shane with instant attacks. Facing the red-hair pirates, known as the Iron Wall, Shane still chose to stand still and let them attack. Far in the air, Marco's eyes twitched. Did he open it the wrong way? Admiral Black Dragon only stands and gets beaten?
Sooner or later the defense will be breached. However, what Marco didn't know was that Shane was no longer being beaten unilaterally. He now understands a new way to absorb armament haki, which is to absorb other people's armament haki attacks.
Various attacks continued, but after several rounds of attacks by Red Hair Pirates cadres, the movement was huge.
But Shane didn't suffer the slightest injury, not even a gap, and even the previous knife marks didn't cause any further damage. Red-haired Ben Beckman and everyone were completely stunned. Usopp's forehead was covered with cold sweat. This kind of defense has surpassed ancient and modern times. The first person in the world in ancient and modern times.
Lackey Lu wiped the sweat from his forehead. The most outrageous thing is that not only are our attacks ineffective, the Black Dragon can also absorb our haki.
This makes our consumption even greater. Neither the red-haired captain nor Ben Beckman, the deputy captain, said a word. At this time, they just felt powerless and didn't know how to deal with Shane. So hard. Ads by Bidgear Chapter 38. Unable to break through the defense at all, the red-haired man's mentality collapsed and he gave in. After Shane was besieged by the Red Hair Pirates cadres, he was in a very happy mood. If the Red Hair Pirates knew about it, they would definitely vomit blood. The method of getting stronger after being beaten that I developed is indeed effective. To enhance super strength, you need to absorb armament haki. Before, Shane felt that it was natural for him to take the initiative to absorb it, but when he thought about it later, it was right to take the initiative to absorb it. But what if he took the initiative to absorb other people's attacks?
As long as others use haki to attack their physical body, they can absorb the other party's haki when they come into contact.
This is the same as basking in the sun and breathing. You don't need to do it yourself. You can just wait for others to send haki to your door. Today is Shane's first attempt, and the results of the experiment prove that this method is very useful. Just when he was attacked by members of the Red Hair Pirates, Shane's superpower, experience value increased crazily. A typical person can become stronger by being beaten. To describe Shane's current mood in one word, it would be blissful.
In the distance, Marco looked dull in midair. Ace must have lied before. Could he and Sazi break through Shane's terrifying defense?
Not to mention skin injuries, there probably wouldn't even be a trace left on Shane's body. If Ace and others did not lie, then, Marco swallowed. If this was really the case, it would be even more terrifying. It shows that Shane's defense has improved to several levels in a short period of time. Even a monster-level genius cannot describe Shane. Anyway, go back and tell Dad first. Marco did not dare to stay any longer and planned to go back directly to report the situation of the Whitebeard Black Dragon. If it's really too difficult, maybe you can team up with the Red Hair Pirates to keep the Black Dragon in the New World. Once such a super monster grows up, do pirates like them still need to play? Below, on the ice, Usopp, Lakilu and other cadres all felt extremely powerless. Boss, what should we do now? Usopp asked in a low voice. There was one more thing he didn't say, for fear that they wouldn't be able to meet with the Whitebeard Pirates today. But in fact, even if Usopp didn't say it, this idea had emerged in the minds of the cadres, even the red-haired captain.
I'm afraid I can't get Whitebeard to summon Ace back.
Back off, Redhead. Shane continued. The red-haired man pondered, but did not choose to retreat or continue to attack. He planned to delay it for a while and see if he could let the Whitebeard Pirates take the initiative to search for it. Once the Whitebeard Pirates arrive, there is still a chance to achieve their goal. At this moment, Ben Beckman approached the red-haired ear and said, Shanks, look at Shane's left shoulder, where you slashed before.
When the red-haired man heard this, he looked over and saw that Shane's skin was slightly red, and the marks were deeper than other places. Beckman, the redhead murmured softly. Ben Beckman on the side nodded slightly and said, after your full blow, this shoulder will most likely be close to the critical value.
In other words, it is currently Shane's weakness. As long as we put all our attacks here, we will be able to break through Shane quickly. Hope suddenly ignited in the red-haired heart, and he immediately whispered, just do it. Beckman, go tell the others about this and join forces to attack Shane's left shoulder.
Ben Beckman did not hesitate, and immediately quietly retreated to the back, telling Usopp that Lackey and other cadres Shane's shoulder was about to reach critical mass.
After hearing this, the cadres behaved exactly like the red-haired man, and they were all filled with hope. However, the expressions of everyone did not change. They were still solemn, troublesome and deeply helpless. The leader, the red-haired one, exhaled and said in a very helpless tone.
Black Dragon, we will launch one last attack. If you still can't be injured and bleed this time, I will retreat.
Shane smiled and said, no problem. He looked like he didn't care at all how many times the opponent attacked, which made the cadres of the Red Regiment grit their teeth and feel a little angry. Don't you look down on us too much. I'll see what you can do if I break your defense later. Red Hair. Ben Beckman, Usopp and others stopped talking nonsense and launched another attack on Shane. Everyone seemed to be targeting any part of Shane's body randomly as before, but in fact the targets were all on his shoulders. God's death. The red hair slashed sharply again, heading straight for Shane's head. Ben Beckman was even more direct. Since Shane didn't attack but only defended, he simply rushed in front of Shane and fired. None of the cadres revealed their actual intentions. Lakilu doesn't need to do so many bells and whistles. Despite his poor figure, his speed is terrifying to the extreme, even faster than the red hair. So he didn't pretend to attack, but the most comfortable one belongs to Usopp. For him, a sniper, long-range attacks are enough. As the red-haired god of Void fell first, the attack that originally went straight to the head turned to the shoulders. Other cadres also revealed their attack intentions at this moment. Usopp's slingshot was launched, and Ben Beckman pointed his gun at Shane's shoulder. Lakilu instantly reached the place where he could attack Shane's shoulder and pulled the trigger. All attacks were aimed at Shane's shoulders. Seeing that the hit was about to hit, everyone in the Red Hair Pirates looked happy. They're about to break Shane. However, something unexpected happened in the next second. Shane's lips curled up and he said calmly, "You guys are pretty good at acting." While speaking, he raised his hand and covered his shoulder with his palm. The red-haired man, Ben Beckman and others were immediately confused. Why does Shane know their purpose? Can he still break Shane's defense now? The red-haired man gritted his teeth, his face full of reluctance, but in the end there was only a sigh. He took the lead to restrain his attack, and then said to other cadres, "Stop it." Upon hearing this, the cadres stopped their attacks. However, the bullet had already been discharged and could not be retrieved. However, the attack hit Shane's palm and did not break the defense at all. The faces of the red-haired and others changed. The burning hope suddenly broke through, and even the cadre showed a trace of dejection on his face at this moment.
However, Usopp still gritted his teeth and said, "Boss, why don't you continue to attack?"
The other cadres also looked at the red hair. Since Shane's defense has a critical value and is not invincible, they can still break through the defense if they continue to attack. The red-haired leader sighed. That's it. Throw away the unwillingness, reluctance, and other emotions on his face, and finally only a chuckle remains. We have been shameless once and cannot continue to be shameless. Black Dragon, I lost. You are powerful beyond imagination. As he said that, the red-haired man suddenly sneered, a little unwillingly. The most outrageous thing is that you didn't take any action during the whole process. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 39 Accident. Actually persuading Whitebeard can still trigger the mission? It wasn't until the red-haired general said these words that Usopp, Lackey Lu and others realized it later. I was shocked to realize that Black Dragon had not made any move from beginning to end. The only time he exhales can only be regarded as a shock to Red Hair Pirates, and then he is on defense the whole time. This convinced the Red Hair Pirates cadres. This shows that the Admiral Black Dragon simply wants to prevent the meeting of the two emperors, and has no intention of starting a war. His full defense proved his sincerity. Looking around, the faces of Usopp, Lackey Lu and others showed less reluctance and more admiration and recognition for the Black Dragon. Ben Beckman chuckled. I never thought that I would admire a Marine in my lifetime. The red-haired leader smiled heartily. The Black Dragon did not take action to prove his sincerity, and the red hair naturally would not be aggressive. Besides, since he and others were defeated, he had no right to be aggressive.
The most outrageous thing is that you are still a little kid. The redhead joked.
Shane's expression didn't change and he didn't say a word, too lazy to speak. Opposite me, the redhead didn't mind either. He stopped smiling and said to Shane. Black Dragon, we red hair pirates retreat now. I hope you can tell Whitebeard on my behalf. After a pause, the red-haired man sneered. As for what happened, you also know.
No problem. Shane wished the redhead would retreat quickly so that he could complete the task. At the same time, the bow of the warship. Stussy looked at the scene where Black Dragon faced all the red hair pirates' cadres, and was amazed.
This battle refreshed Stussy's worldview. Shane's defense was actually able to increase so much in a short period of time, from being injured by God's avoidance, to resisting a stronger God's death. Outrageous. Exaggerate. After today, the name of the 4th Admiral Black Dragon will enter the field of vision of every 4 emperors. No 4 emperors dared to underestimate this youngest admiral.
Stussy's beautiful eyes twinkled, and a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth.
How long will Shane be unstoppable? Stussy is curious and looking forward to it. I want to see how far this young man who is at the peak of his career can go. Below, Shane is about to ask Stussy to get the phone bug. And at this moment, the system voice in my mind sounded. Task 2. Successfully get Whitebeard to recall Ace. Complete this task to get more generous rewards. Close black lens bracket. Shane was stunned, very surprised. Is this a side mission? But that's not important. What's important is that you can get rewards, and that's enough. Originally, Shane was just going to casually relay the red-haired purpose. As for whether Whitebeard wanted to recall Ace or not, it had nothing to do with him. But now Shane can't show off anymore. It still feels a bit troublesome. After restraining his thoughts, Shane smiled lightly and said to the redhead. Redhead, even if you go in person, you may not be able to get Whitebeard to recall Ace. And I will take action to ensure that Whitebeard can recall Ace. The red-haired man's eyes lit up, and he was obviously happy, but soon he laughed and shook his head. Black Dragon, you don't understand Whitebeard's character. Only Roger can make Whitebeard compromise so far. When Roger asked Whitebeard to borrow Odin, Whitebeard rarely agreed to compromise. Shane wasn't going to say anything more, so he raised his hand and rubbed his neck and said casually, "It's up to you whether it's okay or not."
Opposite me, the redhead suddenly felt that Shane might really be possible.
Never mind. Don't think about this, since Black Dragon Reason has given a guarantee, it shows that he has confidence and confidence. All you have to do is wait for the final result. If Whitebeard is really allowed to recall Ace, then the purpose of this trip will be achieved. It doesn't matter whether the two emperors are in contact or not. Alright. Black Dragon. The red-haired man immediately waved his hand and planned to withdraw, but before leaving, he looked at Shane with firm eyes and said, "Black Dragon, next time we meet, I will definitely break your defense, it's just me."
The red hair plans to start comprehensive training after returning to improve his haki and his sword skills.
Then challenged the Black Dragon again. After saying that, the red-haired man didn't intend to wait for Shane's reply, and immediately turned around and left. However, he was stopped by Shane. "Redhead, wait a minute, you still need to do one last thing." The redhead looked back with confusion on his face. Shane raised his hand to greet Stussy on the bow of the warship in the distance. "Stussy, throw the phone bug over here." The bow of the warship. Stussy was originally wondering why Shane wanted to be called a redhead. Hearing him asking for a phone bug, Stussy immediately understood what Shane was planning to do. "I was speechless. I was planning to let the red-haired man call Sengoku himself. It was okay to do this to Doflamingo before, but now he is facing the red-haired four emperors. Will the other party be willing to do this? Don't let a task you have already completed get screwed up." Although she was a little worried, Stussy still obediently threw the phone bug to Shane. Shane raised his hand and easily caught the phone bug in his hand. The red-haired person opposite asked in surprise, "Black Dragon, what are you doing with the phone bug?" Shane answered casually, "Redhead, call Marshal Marine yourself and tell him that you gave up on meeting Whitebeard." The red-haired man was stunned and didn't understand why he was doing this. Behind him, Ben Beckman, Lackey Lou and others were equally puzzled. They retreated, and Marine knew about it later, so why bother? Shane didn't plan to say anything more, he just wanted to complete the task quickly and directly handed the phone bug to the redhead.
The red-haired man looked at the phone bug and said nothing. He chuckled and said, "Okay. I'll tell Sengoku myself." While saying this, the red-haired man took the phone. On the bow of the warship, Stussy was extremely surprised. Unexpectedly, the red hair actually agreed, "You know, this kind of request is a bit embarrassing." The redhead agreed directly, which is enough to explain a lot of things. Marshal's mansion. The atmosphere was dull, and everyone was silently waiting for the result of Shane's handling of the contact between the two emperors. Even Garp is no longer as carefree as he used to be. This time Shane has to face the four emperors, and he has to prevent the four emperors from contacting each other. The danger involved is unimaginable. Just then, the ringing of the phone broke the silent atmosphere. Everyone was attracted by the sound, and their hearts could not help but lift to their throats. At this time, he said for no reason, "Do you think it was the red hair who hit me?" There was a precedent for Dressrosa before. On the side, Garp couldn't help laughing. How is that possible? Those are four emperors. Even if Shane prevented him from contacting Whitebeard, the red-haired man would not be able to lose his dignity and make a phone call to inform Marine himself. The crane said nothing, indeed, she was just talking out of fantasy. At his desk, Sengoku answered the phone directly, "Who is this?" Then I heard a faint laugh coming from the phone bug. Red-haired, Shanks. All the generals in the Marshal's mansion stared suddenly, they were really redheads. Ads by Bid Gear Chapter 40 Mission completed, unlocked, Super Flight. Naval Headquarters, the Marshal's residence. The Marine executives present were all confused. They thought it was impossible to have red hair, but they didn't expect that it was actually red hair. Hey, are you kidding me? Aokiji said in disbelief. Hey, what did Shane do to make the red-haired phone call bug come over? Kizaru was very curious. The red-haired man's strength can be said to be at the top of the world. Even he, the veteran admiral, is not sure of defeating the red-haired man. Is it still the same as Doflamingo before, with the red hair taking the initiative to inform? Up here, on the desk. Sengoku breathed silently to calm down his mood. Red hair, what are you planning to do when you call me now? On the opposite side, the red-haired man chuckled and apologized to Sengoku. Sengoku, I'm really sorry for causing trouble to you. Sengoku's eyes moved slightly, becoming more and more confused. All around, the expressions of Hara-san Admiral, Garp, he and other senior officials were changing. The four emperors' redhead actually took the initiative to apologize? What's going on? Could it be that the red hair successfully met with Whitebeard? He guessed. The higher-ups are all aware of the special nature of the red-haired identity. Now that the red-haired man has come to meet, there is a high probability that he will successfully contact Whitebeard, which will have a huge impact on Marine and the world government. That's why he called the worm specifically to apologize. As soon as his guess came out, all the senior officials in the mansion became non-committal. Shane failed. There was no change in Akainu's expression, but there was a hint of worry in his heart. Is Shane injured? But soon, everyone's worries disappeared, and the red-haired man continued with a sneer after finishing his courtesy. Sengoku,
Akainu's son is really fierce. No, you shouldn't be connected with Akainu. He is the Admiral Black Dragon, the real deal. Although the red-haired man's tone did not change, the Marine executives could hear the unwillingness. I am no match for him. The red hair's words surprised everyone. Yeah. Aokiji was shocked and lost his usual laziness. The redhead actually said personally that he was no match for Shane. Are the two sides at war? Kizaru became a little suspicious. In his impression, the red-haired man was the top person in the world. Kizaru couldn't imagine how Shane convinced the redhead. And what is Shane's current level of strength? That is to say, the reason why the red-haired man called the insect over was Shane's request. Crane felt like he was in a dream. Wow, haha. Garp on the side came over in surprise and couldn't help but laugh. The red-haired kid also has today. It's so happy. I've long wanted to teach this bastard who misled others, but now it's okay. Shane takes my place and teaches him a lesson. First up, at the desk, Sengoku pretended to be calm and said in a deep voice, "You and Shane started a war? Otherwise, how could he say he couldn't beat Shane?" That's true. But it's not true either. Black Dragon was on defense the whole time and didn't take any action. But even so, I was convinced, the red-haired man said calmly. And his words almost made Sengoku lose his composure. Shane defended him the whole time? All around, other senior officials were stunned. Good guy. It wasn't because he was convinced originally, but because he was so hard that the red-haired man had no choice but to be convinced. The most outrageous thing is, facing the redhead, how dare Shane defend himself all the way? Is this full of confidence, or is it that the ignorant are fearless? But these are not important anymore. What is important is that Shane really managed to convince the red-haired four emperors without taking any action, so he chose to retreat. Sengoku forced himself to restrain his joy and excitement, and chatted a few more words with the red-haired man. In the end, both parties hung up the phone peacefully. The next second, Sengoku laughed out loud. Marine really found a treasure. The record of making the red-haired man subdue this time is shining even for the original 3 Admiral. He is truly a handsome young man, he sighed with emotion. I thought about Shane's success, but I didn't expect it to be such a steely method. He dares to let the red hair attack the whole time without counterattack. He is unique in the army. It seems unreliable, but it solved our difficult problems twice. The senior management present were filled with emotion. Shane was becoming more and more dazzling. Perhaps the age of navigation that the older generation could not handle could be ended by Shane's hands. If it is really done, then the name of Black Dragon will be famous throughout the ages. Among the higher-ups, Akainu still had a straight face. He folded his hands and snorted coldly. It's really ineffective. He actually needs to be beaten to make the red-haired man submissive. All the generals around looked at Akainu, speechless. Listen. Is this human language? Any one of them, even if they fight, can't make the red-haired man subdue. Although Akainu said this on his lips, he was extremely happy in his heart. This was the first time in his life that he felt so happy, so refreshed. As expected of me, Sakazuki's son, meanwhile, New World. As soon as the redhead hung up the phone, the system voice in Shane's mind rang. Congratulations to host for completing the task of preventing the 2 emperors from contacting. Reward 1. Unlock the new attribute, Super Flying, top level cap. Reward 2. Super Breath. The experience gained is doubled. Reward 3. Super Power. Double the absorption speed, close black lens bracket. Hearing that the mission was completed, Shane was in a great mood. Then seeing that he finally unlocked the flying attributes he had been looking forward to, Shane felt even better. Gujing Wubbo's heart began to flutter. The most important thing is that Super Flying has a very simple way to obtain experience points. You only need to fly to continue to obtain them. It is equivalent to hanging up to practice. Feeling happy to the ultimate. Doubling the experience value of the other 2 attributes can greatly increase Shane's hang up speed. Super Breathing is doubled, and Super Strength is doubled for haki. Shane almost wanted the redhead to burst into Conqueror's haki and then lay on the ice to breathe. By the way, Ben Beckman used armament haki to attack himself crazily to achieve a comprehensive hang upgrade. Certainly, just think about it. If I really come up with this idea, I'm afraid that red hair pirates will burst out one by one. Black Dragon, I've done what you said, don't let me down next time, the red-haired man said while handing the phone bug back to Shane. Shane didn't reach out to take it, but responded directly, that's natural. He still has a task ahead of him and will definitely do his best. I'm going to find Whitebeard. As soon as he finished speaking, Shane jumped into the air. Even a salty character like Shane looked happy when he tried to fly for the first time. Woohoo. One word. Cool. Sure enough, flying is a man's romance. Adds by Bid Gear.